Warning, due to adult language and humor, the following content may not be suitable for any viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The views and opinions expressed during the following live stream or video content are those of the individual and may not reflect those of others. Thank you. Good evening and welcome, one and all, to PACIFIC414 Pop Talk, along with co-host Cash Money 007. I am your host, Mike, and tonight it's a loaded episode of Pop Talk. Not saying I'm going to talk about every single article I have lined up here, but I do have at least 3 articles that I do want to talk about, which is the norm for Pop Talk. At least it's been the norm since I started doing this almost 2 years ago. So, with that being said, first, I want to introduce co-host Cash Money 007.
Yo, what's up?
Not much. How's your day been?
Pretty good. Still seem to be kicking, so that's good.
Yeah, you sound a lot better than you did a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think I'm getting my voice back now.
Although, during that pirated edition of Pop Talk with you and Baron, you did have quite the baritone voice. Yeah.
I did, yes.
And for tonight's episode of Pop Talk, one of the 3 articles we are going to be talking about this evening is after an abysmal box office performance by Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Disney CEO Bob Iger signals cutting back Marvel franchise films. I'm not sure if I believe that. I also have another article related to Marvel saying that they filed court documents to compel Reddit to expose who leaked Quantumania's script. And another Marvel-related article that Marvel at one point wanted to publish Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh my.
Yes. And another one of the main articles that we are going to talk about tonight are this year's Oscar winners. And this comes from Cosmic Book News. And then the other main story we have here, and I'm sure you have a lot to say about this, Cash, once we get into the gist of everything, is from CBR. It says Mass Effect's new game has to fix the original series' romance mistake. BioWare's next game in the Mass Effect franchise can fix an egregious mistake, the lack of proper same-sex romance options in the original trilogy. You know what? Let's go ahead and rip off the Band-Aid and start off with this article.
Fantastic.
I mean, you know me. You know I need my pain, but Cash, do you need your pain?
It's just more pandering, but let's get into it.
So you are pretty much saying what I think you're saying, and if I'm wrong, please tell me. But you're saying
I don't want my pain taken away. I need my pain.
I need my pain. Yes. What they're saying is that things in the past is wrong because we feel it's wrong, even though had nothing to do with writing it, nothing to do with working on it, but for some reason we feel it's still wrong.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So just because it doesn't meet your standards of today, it means that everything was wrong, even though it was perfectly fine for the period of time it came out.
Yep.
Just like watching a movie from the 70s. It was perfect for the time it came out. It reflects the time it came out. A movie from the 60s or a movie from the 80s. They each reflect the period of time that they actually were distributed, even TV shows.
Yep. The whole thing is that you pretty much, yes, there were a few characters in Mass Effect trilogy in general that you probably didn't need to care about. There was Vega, who was just the meathead military guy who was voiced by Freddie Prince Soy Jr. So yeah. But
Oh, you mean Mr. Sarah Michelle Gellar?
yes, yes. He did it. I'm not saying he did a bad job. It's just it didn't. It was just another character that did we need him? Then they had Kai Lang, who was the bad guy, who was very much more interesting in the book, but in this he just was annoying. And I remember this argument I got into with a random person is that Kai Lang is like the anti-Shepherd, and I'm like, that's a weak argument, dude. But there's mistakes that were made, but it's always like with the past now, and this continues to happen more and more, that something has to be wrong with the game if it's not Persona 4 Golden, with the gamer, and now CBR, and they get passive aggressive and they're like, oh, this is a mistake. It's only a mistake to them because they can't seem to comprehend that this doesn't have to be the way that they want it to be. And they had nothing to do with writing it, like I said. So yeah.
Let's get into this article and see what Joshua M. Patton has to say about this article,
All right.
which was published one day ago on CBR.com. It says when Mass Effect launched in 2007, that was 16 years ago, thereabouts, it was something special in gaming. Like The Last of Us, during its time, it represented a singular advancement in the level of storytelling video games could achieve. Developer BioWare is now planning a new Mass Effect installment, and the studio can't repeat the egregious mistake it originally made of excluding same sex romance options from the game. Now, you were telling me backstage that you actually could have same sex romance in the game.
Yeah, Shepard can date Cortez. If I remember correctly, I don't think that changed. I wasn't interested in it. Oh no, I know people, but no, for me it was always Liara. But in the third game, you weren't allowed to be with the person that you got to be with in the first game, and that was a problem. I had a whole post about that. It was very interesting how a lot of people felt about that, very strongly about that, who they wanted to be with. If they wanted to be with Miranda, you can do a mission and be with Miranda, excuse me, and go to her like place and sleep with her, but you don't get to spend any more time with her. And that really aggravated people, but that's because unfortunately the third game was definitely rushed. There definitely could have been even more to it. And even though it's still a good game, now other people will say it's crap because of the ending and stuff, but I still think that's unfair. It's a playable game. There is fun in the game, but it does feel rushed, and it sucks for a lot of people who throughout that third game cannot be with the person that they want to be with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I would like to say hello to Lord Thoth. How are you doing this evening?
Hello, Lord Thoth.
The article says when the first Mass Effect launched, it was a console exclusive for Xbox, a prestige title that critics and players raved about. However, because it was a different time, someone made the decision to limit romance options to heterosexual pairings. For the most part, male Shepard could romance Ashley Williams, and female Shepard could romance Kaden Alenko. Liara T'Soni was a female romance option for both Shepards. The romances are an important part of the Mass Effect story for many players, so much so that multiple mods exist that allow these same-sex romances throughout the trilogy. Any new games in the Mass Effect franchise need to make sure that they don't leave that responsibility to the players. And the article continues to say, not long after the game's release, Fox News ran a segment calling the game explicit. Jeff Keeley of the Game Awards fame tried to inform Fox's viewers that the sexual situation in the game was only the result of about 30 odd hours of story and specific relationship building with characters. The game debuted long before the U.S. Supreme Court affirmed the right to marriage equality, and the lack of same sex romance options feels like a conscious decision to avoid that specific discussion in the press. So far, this seems like a lot of word salad.
Oh, of course. Unfortunately.
What makes the lack of same sex options so egregious is that sexual orientation is not important to either Ashley Williams or Caden Alenko. Beyond that affection for Shepard, it goes on to say it would be effortless representation. Given the larger themes in Mass Effect story about tolerance and the bonds between people, the absence of same sex romances felt glaring. Now, the Mass Effect's Legendary Edition feels more dated than it should because of it. Okay, so I'm just going to come out and say it. If you're more worried about a game having same sex relationships and actual story and actual good gameplay, then you need help.
Yeah,
I don't play games because I want to see two characters go at it in a romantic way. No, I play
yeah,
games for
right.
story and for good gameplay.
That's just another option, and that's fine, Lord. You don't, it's fine if the romance part didn't interest you. That's fine. It's just like it's another option, man. So,
And I do want to say hello to Phil McCracken,
yeah.
who says, "Is this a CCP meeting?" Oh, shut up, Phil. Or as I said during the pirated edition of Pop Talk, shut it, Phil.
He took the wrong pills again, I'm sure. I told you, man. I told you.
And Worthoff says, "All good, you guys. Yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah.
We're not going to hold back. We're going to say what's on our mind, but we're doing good." And I'm just reading what you already read from Lorthoff. Actually, didn't care for that romance part of Mass Effect, to be honest, and that's fine. You know, everybody plays the game their own way, and that's one thing that's nice about the Mass Effect series is you don't have to go down the same path everyone else does.
No, you don't. But unfortunately, in the third game, your choices are not going to matter, and anyone who tells you otherwise is ridiculous because they don't.
So this article goes on to say what makes Mass Effect so special is the way the players develop connections to their shepherds. Maybe she is kind to everybody, but punches out Comrade Werner just because. Maybe he's a really tough guy, but he always helps the Volus and Solarian. I'm just making sure I'm saying the names right. Solarian Scan, the
Yes.
Keepers. Mods have allowed players to let their shepherds love who they want. The homophobia is still a
No.
problem 15 years after the first game was released. Is more reason than ever for BioWare to give players the chance to escape into the sexually oriented shepherd or whoever the new protagonist will be of their choice. Again, word salad.
They're saying the funny thing is I'm pretty sure even KOTOR, yes, had romance options. This has been going on for a long time in their games. Dragon Quest has romance options, though I haven't gotten into that, but I'm pretty sure it does. A lot of this is one of the things in their games that they brought in was romance options. So KOTOR has romance options, Dragon Quest has romance options. Why did I say Dragon Quest? Excuse me, Dragon Age. Dragon Quest is Square Enix. But Dragon
Once you
Age,
play one dragon game, they're all the same.
they're all the same, man. They have the romance options because it's something different that a lot of games didn't do the way that they were putting it in the game. But this is, of course, an article to tell us that people are wrong if they don't agree with them and blah, blah, blah. But let's continue on.
We'll continue on. And what I'm going to say is we don't all have to agree. Everybody has their own opinion. Everybody forms their own opinion based on the facts that are presented to the person. And before we continue,
there's an orca boy floating around.
There's not just an orca boy floating around, Cash Money. He is a monetized orca boy wearing his monocle and his top hat. Yes. And Orca Boy asks us, why are we subjecting ourselves to them articles? Because we subject ourselves to these types of articles to tear them apart.
Shut up, Phil. What are you talking about?
Phil, take
you're going to be
pills next time. Why are you sexist neckbeards full of same-sex power?
Oh, man, that's great.
And Paul says, justice for cash and Pacific's brain cells.
Yes.
What are we going to do? Are we going to allow an article like this to make us angry? No. We laugh at it. We tear it apart.
Yes.
And how ridiculous it is.
Yep.
And Phil's saying,
yeah, I know.
You know what, Phil?
He's obsessed. It's all right.
You got some weird obsession with cash money.
He does, man. He misses me too much when I'm not around. I think that's the problem. Yeah. I think he's actually secretly part of the Communist Party, but we won't judge him. It's all right.
No judgment here. No judgment here. So this article continues by saying Mass Effect 3 debuted in 2012. I actually have it. And it had its own problems that had little to do with romances. A rush production for the final installment meant more than a few stories and characters got the short shrift, or shrift as they're saying here.
Yeah.
Why don't they just say a few characters got the shorter things?
I don't know.
2 same-sex romance options were introduced as members of the Normandy's crew. One spends most of the game mourning his husband, and the other lacks any meaningful character development after the relationship begins. At least even with a hellish release schedule, the developers made an attempt. Goes on to say, Mass Effect Andromeda also suffered from fraught development and negative fan reaction upon release. To that game's credit, there are same-sex romance options with decently developed characters as a way to save time. Much of the game's story was trimmed and planned to be picked up in DLC or a sequel. Neither of those ever emerged. Still, the game is better than its reputation claims, and one thing that makes it work so well is the diversity of romance options. The character relationships have unique stories and cutscenes depending on the partner. BioWare might want to run from everything associated with Andromeda, but they should build on the good work the game did in this area with the new entry. And last but not least, the article concludes by saying part of the magic of the role-playing games is the player imagining their characters as distinct individuals. They have different personalities, make unique decisions, and fall for different people. Whether the first Mass Effect omitted most same-sex romance options to avoid bad press or just because it was easier, the developer of the next game shouldn't make the same mistake. No matter how well the game works, if players can connect to the protagonist on a personal level, the new Mass Effect game will reach or surpass the franchise's past heights. Okay, I'm just going to add this. I'm not playing the game for same-sex or heterosexual romance. I'm playing the game for its main story and characters that are interesting and are involved heavily into the story. And there's a reason why they're a part of the team. They each add something different to the team to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If all you're concerned about is does it have, heterosexual or same-sex romance, then maybe playing games isn't for you. If that's all you're concerned about.
There's so much more than the relationships in this game. There's the sacrifice, the triumph. There's all kinds of cool stuff with going on. The missions you go on, the betrayal, the revenge. This is just another option that, of course, BioWare games have had, where you have the romance options, where you can have a companion or this and that. I mean, and so they made people care, and that's why a lot of people, when they finish this trilogy and they didn't get to be with the person very long in the third game that they liked, doesn't matter if it's Cortez or anybody like that. With Cortez, you can, but other people, is that they made it important to a lot of people. And then they just kind of half-assed it in the third game, but that's what they did. Unfortunately, some relationships were more important than others. Like Liara, you can be with her throughout the whole third game. There's other ones like Tally. You can be with her throughout the third game, but you can't with Miranda. You can't with some other ones. Yeah, it's just something that you just can't do. I mean, Liara, I always liked. I always found Liara interesting, and because she's an Asari, she lives 1,000 years. It is very interesting stuff. But it's always that this denied this in a game, or how dare they do this, and it's a mistake. It's not a mistake at all. It's just what they decided to do. And yes, there is a possibility that they thought they were going to get some bad press, so they didn't want to do that. But who cares? It's their game.
You know what's sad? It used to be you would pop in the game and maybe the game had very little story to it,
Right.
but your main concern was how well is the gameplay?
Right.
Now it's gotten to the point where forget about the gameplay, forget about the story. Are the characters X, Y, and Z?
Yep. Exactly. They're obsessed with this, and unfortunately, they have a lot of influence on the industry, because the industry is just like a lot of these other people, and they may make it a big deal, but then it becomes more about that than everything else in the game, and then that's not good either. So,
No. I mean, look at Saints Row remake. That game is atrocious.
yes.
I've seen gameplay of it. It's atrocious. The game has really no story. You don't really care about the characters. It's not like Saints Row that came out before, 1 through 4, where you actually cared about the characters and what they were going through.
Right.
And it's just like with a TV show. Don't say that, this character belongs to this particular group. What makes this character unique from the other characters in this TV show? Why am I going to like this character? Because of their personality. We have to get to know them. It's just gotten ridiculous that the main focus in gaming anymore is not on the gameplay or gaming itself. It's on something that really is just a small part of the game.
Yes. It is.
So, do you have any other thoughts that you'd like to add to this article before we move on? Cash?
I'm thinking. Not really. They, I guess I would just add that they they just want to find some fault always. Nothing is ever good enough for them, so they just want to keep finding some whatever fault. In games, something's not there for them. It's always about them. It's the same thing with the accessibility. Why doesn't Dark Souls have this? Why doesn't it this have this? This needs to appeal to all people and whatever. The funny thing is they are never the ones making the game, but they love to sit there and throw their 2 cents in about this is a mistake and why did they do this. If it's an actual mistake, that's one thing. But this is just their opinion and their why did they not do this? This is so important and we need this, we need that. It's silly.
Well, it's just like going back to previously published books that are written by the original author and then changing the wording in those books because of the original wording being offensive. It was the language of the time. You think somebody, 50 years from now, 100 years from now is going to completely understand some of the works that are put out today in books with today's language? No, they're going to have a completely different language set. Slangs that worked in the 1950s, they don't work today. I get that. But you don't change the work. You leave it as is because that shows the sign of the times of when it originated. It's like I'm not going to go back to watching I Love Lucy and saying, oh my gosh, you need to change this. This offends me. What? Lucy and Ethel working at the candy shop and trying to keep up with all the candy coming down the conveyor belt, or Lucy, doing the Vita Vita Vegemin commercial and getting drunk on it because it has alcohol. Is that going to offend you? No, it was done for comedic purposes. Something that we used to have, comedy. People used to be able to laugh. And unfortunately, a lot of people have forgotten how to laugh. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, Mass Effect, even though I haven't played much of it, just 3, but Mass Effect is fine the way it is. And
it's the same thing with the whole thing about, using conservative outlets like Fox News. Yeah, Fox News was all upset about it. Am I supposed to hate that news organization because they said some stuff? Who cares? I mean, we can also talk about Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh was saying, how there's like devil worshiping this in anime. He may be also just joking or doing it for clicks or whatever, but it seems to trigger people so much, and like it's easy to make fun of it, obviously, when these people say these things, but it's just like you don't have to sit there and be offended.
no,
Like you can just say the guy is ignorant or the woman's ignorant or whatever and move on with your day. You don't have to spend thousands of hours on it.
Oh my God, I can't believe what he said about anime. I mean,
right, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Cass, you and I are baseball fans.
Yes.
So you could hear something on, say, Sports Center.
Yes.
They say something negative about the Dodgers. Are you going to get all up in a tizzy about it and get on social media and start going at ESPN, at Sports Center? How dare you say this about the Dodgers? No.
Yep. Exactly. No, I won't. What's up, Steven?
And I do want to say hello to Steven Ransom. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well.
I'm just not interested in that. Like, yeah, I just felt like what they're saying is ignorant. I didn't agree with it. But then you agree with other stuff that the news says. That's fine too. I know people, but all people want to do is put people in categories and this and that. I don't care. If you like the way Mass Effect is and you don't agree with the article and people think you're a bad person, who cares? That's why you unfortunately don't want to go on certain websites, because all they want to do is attack you when you have a different opinion,
that's true.
Or telling them the facts about something.
And you mentioned the fact that, putting people in groups. I thought we were done with that. I thought we had
Yeah.
gotten past that, but we're
No.
going right back to it.
Yeah. It's just silly. There's other problems with Mass Effect than that stuff with same sex marriages or not enough, or same sex relationships or whatever. It's just the way that they did the game, and yeah, they can have an opinion of that they changed this or they didn't want to change this because they were worried about press issues or something or what at the time. But give me a break. They want it, and if they don't get it, then it's obviously a mistake. And it's always the same thing. We've seen this with the gamer. We've seen this with CBR before. We see this with other websites. I've seen this with GameSpot. I've seen this with IGN. And the reason that I make fun of all this stuff is because they just keep embarrassing themselves.
It's true. And before we move on to our next article, I do want to say hello to old man who says, "Don't you dare say a bad thing about the twins." All right, fine. I won't say anything bad about the twins. Fine, if you feel that strongly about it, old man, I won't say anything bad about the Minnesota Twins. Although I could go right below the belt and say they haven't won a World Series since 1991, which means the Cubs have won a World Series more recently than they have.
That's true. Yeah, we've gone way off topic now. But yes,
that's right. Because we're moving on to another article, this one from Inverse, and it's talking about one of my favorite. Oh my God, this is one of my favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine from its first season. I love this episode that they're talking about, and I hope you all can pick up this sarcasm. This article comes from Inverse. It was posted just yesterday on their site. It says Deep Space Nine's dumbest episode. Oh yeah, it is dumb. Still understood what made its characters tick. Move Along Home was moronic, but it helped lay the groundwork for future adventures. Move Along Home. You know what I think about Move Along Home. I don't even think I have to say what I think about that freaking episode. All right, so the article says one of the problems with today's streaming-dominated television landscape is that no show gets the chance to, as Star Trek fans would say, grow the beard. A reference to a show's singling the conquest of its teething problems by having a main character debut facial hair. There are too many shows demanding too much of our time for us to be patient with the series for multiple seasons. So the era of prestige TV has conditioned us to expect stellar quality right out of the gate. Take recent Trek shows Discovery and Picard. Many fans weren't won back by their season 3 upticks because they'd so readily abandoned them in their early episodes. That's what makes Deep Space Nine's Move Along Home so fascinating. DS9 had little time to prove that the Next Generation success wasn't just a fluke, and time ran out on them fast. Episode 9 of Season 1 didn't just feel like a reused TNG adventure, it felt like a reused adventure from TNG's baffling and much maligned Season 1. Hadn't the writers, many of whom had written for both shows, come a long way since those fledgling days? But while fans are quick to rank episodes among their least favorite, it still manages to hold fast to DS9's core ethos, a distinction that makes DS9's rough Season 1 far better than TNG's. And I do want to say hello to the Nerboreal life form. I hope you're doing well today, Brian.
Yeah. Hello, Brian.
Article goes on to say, in Move Along Home, Deep Space Nine's mix of recently posted Starfleet and Bajoran personnel welcome an unknown alien race from the Gamma Quadrant through the massive wormhole that's opened on the space station's doorstep. Naturally, Commander Benjamin Sisko wants everyone on their best behavior. When the Wadi arrive, sporting gleaming outfits and a few biker stashes, Sisko is surprised they're only interested in playing games at Quark's bar. After hours of exhausting his amusements and frustrated at Quark's cheating, they unveil a game from their home. Chula okay, and its amusements. Sorry, I skipped a line. My bad. Chula's so convoluted it puts any laboriously explaining a board game tropes to shame. The most surprising features is that DS9's chief of staff Cisco, Jadzia, Kira, and Dr. Bashir all get transported into a labyrinth simulation of the game and will need to win to escape. It can't be denied Move Along Home is a silly, flimsy episode. It lacks any strong storytelling or dramatic stakes, as the Wadi reveal that our characters' lives were never really in jeopardy. The scenes of our crew failing around colorful sets, singing a nursery rhyme over a game of hopscotch while the Wadi click together sticks and say a bunch of made up words are painful. The episode was clearly affected by budget constraints and rewrites, something flagged by the fourth credit writers. Let's see, it also goes on to say, but all the dynamics that would define DS9 for its 7 season run and not only present, there are not only present, they're given a good deal of thought. Cisco is anxious to present his station as exemplary now that the wormhole has thrust them into the spotlight. The Starfleet personnel are keen, pragmatically play their way out of the game, but Kira, the stern, proud Bajoran officer, is reluctant. Quark immediately exploits his closeness with a new alien race for financial profit. The ship's shape-shifting, security officer Odo butts heads with his disrespectful Starfleet colleagues, but shows no problem doing unorthodox police work Starfleet would shudder at. Compared to the 9th episode of TNG, where barely any of the lasting characteristics of our ensemble were present, DS9 managed to capture what was so striking about its crew from the outset. The writers already had a strong sense of how each character would react to the silly situation, and in executing those reactions, they helped DS9 build a strong, well developed foundation. Crucially, Move Along Home understands how to characterize the Gamma Quadrant, the nebulous, shifty realm that would ultimately wage war on the Federation. The Wadi's strong gaming culture differentiates from them from everything Starfleet, but like many others, wily and duplicitous entities that would emerge from the wormhole, they seem to have done their homework on how to best toy with our heroes. Starfleet prioritizes respectful relations above all else. The Wadi knew that if someone appeared on their doorstep demanding to play stupid games, Starfleet would have to indulge them. Putting them aside, a Saturday morning puzzle show is the way of mocking Starfleet's overly rigid values and forcing them to meet their aggressive and alien customs on their level. In the end, the Wadi walk free from Quark's bar, having been adequately entertained at the expense of their noble new neighbors. Welcome to the Gamma Quadrant. They're saying we're here to mess with you. While it's a lot jankier, than the series' greatest heights, It's impressive how much Move Along Home got right about DS9 this early on. And let's see. We also have low spec Linux laptop. Hello, low spec. And Brian has a few things to say. So Brian says, sorry for the vent. This has been really disappointing. You guys warned me. What?
Brian, we still have to watch more of the season of Picard, but
Brian, I know we warned you, but you had good reason. You wanted to see it for yourself, especially after hearing, the praise that season 3 was getting. So I understand that. You want to judge it for yourself. You don't want to just go on the word of somebody else.
Yeah. Which is good. It really is. Yes. We're going to be watching is the season over now? No, I don't think it's over.
No. The season only has its 5th episode tomorrow.
Yeah. Jeez. So we're like 2 or 3 behind it. Okay.
And this is what Brian's referring to. He says, the big Riker episode is tomorrow, and I'm not looking forward to it. This series is underwhelming and not very watchable now. How do I know? I'm doing it now, and it gets worse.
Well, what I don't also understand is why does there need to be cussing in a Star Trek show? I understand it's TVMA, but why? I feel like it's cringe. It's just there to be edgy or try to be edgy. That's just my feeling. I don't know. It just really bothers me. It really does.
You know what? I'm gonna invite Nerdportal on. I don't know if he has time or anything, but Brian, check your Discord. And if you want to come on and give your thoughts, you're more than welcome to do so.
I mean, we're still going to watch. I guess we said we're going to watch this whole season.
Yeah. We are.
We're still going to. Yeah, we're making that commitment for some reason.
But you know what? Star Trek has always been a family show.
Yeah,
like it or not, it's always been a family show. A show that families can sit down and watch together, and then discuss the episode afterwards, or in some cases 30, 40, 50 years after that episode aired.
Right.
And where Star Trek has been taken since J.J. Abrams got a hold of it, and then Alex Kurtzman and Discovery, it's not Star Trek. I don't care what anybody says. It's not. Star Trek is supposed to be optimistic. It's supposed to give you that bright, hopeful.
Yep. As I point out,
future.
Yep. As I've said before, the Abrams films, I don't hate them. The second one, there's problems with Khan. Even JJ admitted that in an article, but it's just those movies just aren't memorable. Like, I don't even remember Beyond, and I liked it, and I still don't really remember it. I'd have to watch it over again to even remember it. But with Star Trek 4, Star Trek 2, of course, Star Trek the even motion picture, and I know people have very mixed feelings about that. I get that. It's slow. I still like the motion picture. I still think it's a good film. I don't like it as much as Khan or even Star Trek 4, or even Star Trek 6, but still, those movies, like, they're memorable. Obviously, Star Trek 5 isn't. You hear that, Phil? But anyways, they're memorable. But with the JJ films, it's like you watch them, excuse me, and they're not memorable. I just don't feel they're memorable. Like, you can like them, you can like Beyond, you can like Into the Darkness. Is it Into the Darkness, right? Yeah. You can like the first Star Trek movie, but once again, what does it make you feel? What do you remember it? Like, there's cool stuff in there, but it's just not memorable. I don't even remember barely what happened in Beyond. There was like a war, and there was I don't remember.
Idris Elba.
Yeah, that's right.
About the only thing I remember. And really, you got an actor of Idris Elba Excalibur,
Yes,
and
yes.
you gotta give him a better role than that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember. So I'd have to watch those movies again. I liked Beyond. I remember I did, but I don't remember it. It didn't stick with me, obviously.
You want to know a part I liked about Beyond?
Hmm.
Near the end, when Spock, played by Zachary Quinto, opens up the box that contains future Spock, Leonard Nimoy Spock's belongings, and there's that picture of the original cast. And
Hmm.
ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to Pop Talk, the Nerdporial Life Form.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing?
Hello, Brian. Doing well. Hope you are. Hope you had fun on your trip too.
I did, man. Sorry, I didn't realize. I thought you were in North Carolina, or you were in the mainland of North Carolina. I didn't realize you were in a very weird part that I didn't even know about, to be honest. So, next time I go there, I'll make sure to hit you up.
Well, even if you're 3.5 hours away from where I live, I'm willing to drive that distance.
I'll keep that in mind. So, how you doing? How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Pretty good.
So yeah, me and Prophet of the Dragon have been covering Picard every week. So Thursdays I do my live watch to get to record a genuine reaction, and then Friday, me and him and Alex of the White Cloaks and Gray Wakizashi, the four of us will discuss it. And so it's been very interesting. The last time it was basically me and Steve Prophet versus Gray and Alex talking, because they were very positive about the last episode, whereas I felt like nothing was earned at all. So the first 4 episodes is kind of like an arc, kind of like the first arc. Like if you ever seen Andor's like every 3 episodes was an arc basically.
Yeah.
Only thing is Andor is not written nearly as badly as this. Like,
well,
Andor makes more sense.
Andor gets better and better. I don't know. I ended up liking Andor a lot more than I thought I would. So.
It got better, but then it took a dip with the last 2 episodes. The last 2 episodes I didn't really care for. Underwhelming. But I really loved 9 and 10. The prison stuff was great.
Oh yeah, it was really cool.
So basically, not much has happened in these 4. I mean, do you guys know? Are you guys okay with spoilers?
I'm fine with spoilers. I mean,
right.
I've only seen the first 2 episodes, so
we're gonna watch it with Crit or some other people that haven't watched it yet. So we said we're going to go through this whole season. I've only before watched 1 episode of Picard, and that was season 2, and that was episode 1. So we're gonna watch this whole season, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah. Some people I know are saying Trek is back now and this is amazing and whatever, but I don't know.
I can say for sure that it's not. The series still it's better, but that's like saying, something is bad, going from bad to mediocre. So this stuff still has too much in common with New Trek, especially earlier Picard seasons. Every episode begins with a flashback to open up the episode and basically point out the theme, set up the theme so it could pay off at the very, very end of the episode. So they have the setup, they kind of set it up there, and then they go back to the present. I mean, as a Star Trek fan, I hate that. How do you feel? If you guys have seen earlier Picards where they do that,
yeah.
Did you? How did you feel about that?
As far as relating from season 1 to the 2 episodes I've seen in season 3, I didn't think it was necessary.
Like, why not just bring us why not just open the episode based on what's going on instead of having to revert to flashbacks of eras that were not covered in Trek. I mean, I hated that in season 1. I hate that now. And the thing is, the flashbacks have been happening in the same bar, so they have two or 3 sets. They have the Titan A, which is now the new Neo Constitution. So it looks, member berry, from early Trek, 23rd century. And then you have this 80s looking bar. And I'm just sick of the bar, personally. I'd rather just see 10 Forward again. I'd rather see just something that looks like Star Trek, something that looks futuristic. I mean, unless it's like, supposed to be in the 20th century or something like that with the holodeck. But I don't know. It's just.
I mean, you talk about the 10 Forward bar that was introduced in season 2 of Picard. Why couldn't they, and, you can say, well, how would they do this, Mike? Why couldn't they have taken the saucer section of the Enterprise D that's on Viridian 3 and put it in the Fleet Museum and restore the saucer section to pristine condition and make 10 Forward what it's supposed to be, a meeting place?
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
But yeah, so I mean, you guys know, spoiler alert, they really once again, they're repurposing themselves. I mean, Nemesis was guilty. I like Nemesis, but Nemesis was guilty of this as well, repurposing Wrath of Khan. So we have an enemy vessel. Captain, obviously we don't know her intentions. And now the first episode was just like, Beverly being hunted. And then we have all these member berries, and we have all this mystery box. First mystery box thing that was set up in the first episode was the existence of who is Beverly on the ship with. Well, we find out that's Jack, and that's her son. And apparently Picard, and she never told Picard that she had a son. And sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that doesn't seem like something Beverly would do. It seems like she would tell Picard at some point, say, Jean-Luc, there's something I need to tell you.
Yeah. And especially because I rewatched some episodes. I rewatched the episode. Remember the episode Attached, where they go to this planet that's kind of divided once the majority government wants to become part of the Federation, the other one does not. The other one wants to be isolationist. I just couldn't help but think of the relevance of today, but that's not the point. The point was it was a very good Picard and Beverly episode.
Yeah, that's the one where they can hear each other's thoughts and
yeah. So based on that, I mean, I can't see what they're trying to manufacture drama so hard, based on knowing what Beverly did and how the one of the other mystery boxes, why did she cut him? Because she basically cut herself off from everybody else. So no, she kind of disappeared from everybody's lives. She went off to be as Robert Meyer Burnett puts it, a doctor without borders type of deal. But she ends up stealing, her and her son. She ends up raising her and teaching her son to steal medical supplies and stuff, to give it to other people, and to deal with weapons to get money so that they can get more medical supplies. And it just doesn't make sense. This is, I mean, I don't understand this. I don't like these. I don't like this. I don't like Beverly. I thought Beverly was going to be a good character. I thought we were going to be able to be invested in her. And I'm not liking her based on this. This is not a very likable quality to have. But then again, they have to tear down characters in order for them to and try to rebuild them up in order for us to like them. Once again, manufactured growth, or manufactured development.
Yeah, and one of the things I've seen as far as the Picard press junkets are concerned, it's Terry Metalis and a few other people saying, well, these aren't the same characters, and these characters over the course of 20 years have changed.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know.
Okay,
it has to be, once again, this has to be earned. You can't just expect us to buy. I'm not buying that this Jack Crusher is their son. I mean, when was he born? After Nemesis? The actor's not that much younger than me. He played Aragon in Aragon back in the day. So I mean, he's playing. The show basically established that he's 23. I think even though the actor's like 35. So there's that issue I have on, suspension of disbelief. But like, this is just them copying Wrath of Khan with, Kirk. The thing is, Kirk knew he had a son. And I don't know, and they built up to it, and it felt earned ultimately, and it was believable because of how he was in the original series. It was just a great way for Kirk to grow and everything. This just doesn't feel earned at all. I mean, I understand where where Metalis is coming from. I mean, remember throughout the series, especially in the movies, there'll be no more Picards, especially with with what Generations started, with basically what Family established, and then what Generations kind of tore down, which is another issue I had with that movie. Besides, Kirk's death. Spoiler alert.
Well, I'll also remember in Generations when Picard's in the Nemesis, the one thing we found out that Picard wishes that he had was a family of his own.
Right.
Yeah. So once again, we have this new character, Jack, named after Beverly's dead husband. When this first came out, I was like, wow. So I guess they didn't like Wesley enough to have him help her. She didn't like him enough to help her. I think she literally says that in the episode. So she got a new son now, and so is Jean-Luc. It's funny. It's funny, and it was a bad reason. Like, they had this very long conversation. It's feelings in hallways again, or feelings in bulkheads is what I call it.
That's not what Star Trek's all about. Star Trek's about the best of the best, and the best of the best on that starship working together to solve a situation.
Yeah, and so episode 4, which Mr. Burnett and a bunch of people said ends on a very TNG note, kind of does that, but it does it like the last quarter, maybe 1/3 of the episode. So the first 2/3 of the episode was more feelings, more stuff going on, more no stuff going on. Just they put these episodes. So the first episode is basically Picard hears from Beverly, recruits Riker, goes to the Titan, instead of assuming full command as an admiral to go and help Beverly. They decide to do to sneak around and have just somehow get Seven to cooperate with them, and then so they end up going undermining Captain Shaw, the dipshit from Chicago, which has become my namesake now because I'm from Chicago. And I can be, but they basically disobey orders, and me and Steve have been noticing this, and it's so stupid. Like, this is not something this doesn't match what TNG would do. And I mean, the people that are making this right now, I'm not going to speak for Terry Matalis, but I've like Dave Blast, the production designer, dude, him on Twitter, guy has thinner skin than than a paper mache monster, or paper mache monster from the original series. So yeah, and then we meet this very sinister looking ship that looks like a natural predator, like a scorpion is about to. And we meet this Captain Vadic, and well, I don't know if she is one, but apparently they're a bunch of changelings. They're a bunch of founders, I guess.
Well, that was
if they forgot that Dominion existed.
When we saw her, man, when we were watching this in Discord, I think everybody felt the same way. What do we have? 4 people, 5 people, Mike? They said, first of all, she like slurs her words, and we're like, why are we supposed to care about this lady? I don't know. It's just
she lowered her shield. She's acting crazy and all that, for the fun of it, I guess, for no reason. And then she's just like, look at my ship. I'm gonna lower my shield so you can scan what I'm capable of. Just fucking fire on her. Excuse my language. Just fire on her right away. The moment she did that, they should have fired on her. The moment they got Khan's shields down, they fired on him immediately. even at the state that
you
they
could have
were
an
in.
officer say their shields are down, sir. Fire all weapons.
Yeah. So so you had that. So they wasted. So episode 2 is basically them wasting an hour deciding whether or not to turn over Jack, because this Vatic and her scorpion looking ship. I don't know if it's a Dominion ship. I don't know what this is. I don't know where they're going with this. But they're shapeshifters, and Worf did say they're a renegade faction of the Great Link. Well, an issue I have with that, you've seen DS9, you've seen Broken Link. What happens when you go against the Link? What did they do to Odo? What did they do to Odo?
The Link, they'll come after you. They'll make sure that you have a difficult time. And in Odo's case, he lost his shape-shifting ability.
Like they literally just immobilized him. He couldn't move. He started manifesting symptoms of something, and if he didn't return, he would die.
Mm-hmm.
So that was dumb. And then they're looking for the shapeshifter. So we find out there's a saboteur on board in episode 4, the last episode. The shapeshifter, for some reason, had the same bowl as Odo, or the pot, and they made a stupid cannabis joke. Like this is 21st century stuff. This is stupid. If you remember correctly, Mike, I'm sure you remember this. The other founders did not need that pot. They didn't need to do that. So, did they forget? I'm like, I can't believe Terry Matalas would just forget about that.
Who's to say that Terry Matalas even wrote that part of the script?
Probably not. I mean, but he did work on DS9 and Voyager and Enterprise. So you'd think, I mean, he's probably the one link to Berman Trek that the previous season, I mean, that none of the new Trek has had. Other than maybe...
I'm even thinking of an episode of DS9 where Quark's complaining because Odo has his own quarters, and Quark says, all I hear him do at all hours of the night is moving about.
Yeah, he's shape-shifting into other things. That's basically, I think, what they do after he meets the founders, if I remember correctly. Doesn't he get rid of the bowl or the pot or whatever?
He does.
Yeah.
He has his own quarters, and he has, different pieces in his quarters that he shapeshifts into.
So, I mean, like, any fan would know this. I've seen Star Trek enough, but it's been a while, so a lot of details escape me, but I remember that, at least. That's crazy it's crazy that this is getting so much praise. And that's the one thing that baffles me and Steve. We're talking about this, and it just seems like, I don't want to knock any, content creators, because I know a lot of people follow these guys, but at this point, I just don't believe them. I don't believe them. I don't buy into what they're saying. And it's just, it's very disappointing. I'm very disappointed, not just in the series, but in these content creators that have said this is good. 4 episodes in out of 10, and it's better. It's better than all of New Trek combined.
Mm-hmm.
But it still does not meet standards of Star Trek.
No,
I was just to cleanse my palate. I was staying with Steve when we did these streams, and I was showing his son 16. I was showing his son Arena, original series, and he understands this well. But we as we're watching, I was telling them as we were watching that episode, like, see how they're not talking about feelings, and they're doing their job, and they're basically the events of the episode are just, things are getting done, things are going forward, and they're doing things. They're not just standing around and talking about reminiscing or things that are not important to the overall overall events of what's going on in the episode. Like, everything is focused on what's going on in the episode.
Yeah, and other Trek shows, Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise, whenever the crew found themselves in a predicament, Janeway or somebody would say, all right, people, I need options.
Yeah. And so at the end of this last episode, so they got into several fights with this Vatic. This Vatic has this portal technology. You guys familiar with the game Portal, the Valve game? Well,
Oh yeah, I have.
they
it.
literally have a portal weapon. Like, no joke. Like, there's a portal weapon. So when the Titan fires torpedoes at the Shrike, that's Vatic's ship, that terrifying looking ship. They shoot a portal open, and the portal, the torpedoes, the portal is in between the two ships. The torpedoes go in and they hit the Titan. They reemerge, another portal behind the Titan, and their own torpedoes hit them in the ass. They hit themselves in the ass, basically. And that's how they get disabled. That's episode 3, and then that leads into episode 4, and they are plunging into a gravity well. And throughout the episode, we learn that this nebula that they're in has bioelectric signals or waves, and we find out there's life.
Don't tell me it's a jellyfish.
It is a jellyfish. They say Farpoint, and they literally say Farpoint, and then it's not the exact same jellyfish, but it's still jellyfish, and it doesn't look nearly as good as the jellyfish in Farpoint because it's CGI. It's crappy CGI, and I'm just like, so they came to a solution because Beverly compared the interval of shock waves, or those bioelectric waves I was talking about, and she somehow figured out that it's like contractions for a birth. So there's like this new, so something is, so there's something being born or something. But then they use that bioelectric wave to ride it like it's like it's a wave, like it's like like they're surfing and everything, and that's how they get out of this situation. And because they're using that bioelectric wave, their systems are already repowered and everything, and they can just reactivate all their systems, and they get away. And we see a lot of jellyfish, and so I'm like, what the hell just happened? And then they had the gall to have Beverly say to seek out new life. Like they forgot about it. Like they're trying to say, hey, we remember that.
Do you remember seek out new life, new civilizations to boldly go where no one's gone before? You remember? I hope you do, because here you go.
And then the Raffi stuff with Worf is just Raffi's still annoying. It was said that Raffi has a great arc. So far, her arc has been crap. And her and Worf, Worf's dialogue is pretty bad too. He's like, I'm Worf, son of Moog, slayer of Gowron. I'm like, shut up. Just like, shut up. And then it's and he kills.
Let me ask you this: is the reason why you're saying shut up because it doesn't sound like something Worf would typically go on saying as he gets older? I mean, I saw some clips of that scene, and Worf offers Raffi some tea. I'm thinking, you kidding? Worf would scold her for what she did.
Yeah. And I mean, if you saw the Major Grin video, which I didn't even pick up on right away, he kills an unarmed Ferengi. He just beheads him. Just remember how Legolas or Elnor, whatever his name was, beheads a random Romulan in season 1. Well, it was something like that. He rescues her, so she's about to die by this Ferengi, Joe Pesci like Ferengi.
That was in episode 2, right? Because we saw that one.
That was the end of episode 2. So so that's how they introduce Worf. Worf comes in and just kills everybody.
He did, yeah.
So the Ferengi has like Romulan lackeys. So that's why instead of saying red blood, you saw green blood, as Worf was impaling them and beheading them, and he beheads that Ferengi dude. And that freaking Ferengi had he's like, you know how I know you're an agent? Because the person you say you work for is dead because I killed him and I have his head right here.
Yeah,
that was really had his head. He had the head behind the sofa. Who does that?
I don't. The way the Ferengi looked in the makeup, I think if I remember, we were criticizing that, Mike.
The Ferengi looked fine. The Ferengi I thought looked fine. It was just
I'd
The
have
way
to
the
look at
actor
it
was
again, but
portraying him.
it wasn't he like slurring his words or something? Kind of the way he was talking, it was weird. I just remember it just bothered me.
It sounded like something out of like a gangster movie. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the
Yeah,
dialogue
it
is
was
just
just-
so.
Talk to my boys here.
Mhm,
I'm a
the-
Ferengi.
Yeah, I'm just like, seriously. I guess it could work. I don't know. I don't know, but yeah, that's basically where we're at. So like episode 2 was them waiting an hour to figure out what to do with Jack. They were considering handing him over to Vatic, which is something I don't think they would ever do. Then we find out then Picard has his Indiana Jones moment where he decides to assume command all of a sudden because he's my son and he still talks like an old man. Riker acts out of character too. Like, so in episode 3, when they're being chased, so episode 2 was them, like I said, episode 2 was them, figuring out what to do with Jack. And it ends with them, Picard taking command, and then they basically engage the ship and try to flee into the nebula. So episode 3, they're hiding in the nebula and they get attacked randomly because they have a saboteur aboard, a founder, but we already talked about that. So there's a lot more. There's more feelings. There's Beverly and Picard. We learn about that. We learn about why she did what she did, and it made me like her less because of that, which is probably not a good thing. So. But yeah, they wasted an hour with that, and then the Picard and Riker butt heads. So Riker, so Captain Shaw, the dipshit from Chicago, gets injured. Typical member berry to the Voyager and all that. So you remember how the main way people died in Voyager, if you're on the bridge, is the console would explode and stuff. Well, it didn't kill Captain Shaw. It just critically injured him. So he had to go to sick bay, and he's like, "You got us in this situation. Now you're gonna get us out of this." And he transfers all of his command codes to Riker. So everybody wanted to see Captain Riker, the Titan. Well, here is Captain Riker. But the thing is, he barely acts like a captain. Like we see too much of, once again, him having existential crises instead of figuring out what to do. And he disagrees with Picard. Picard wants to fight, and he wants to flee. Either he wants to flee or wait for he wants to flee. And sorry,
I don't mean to interrupt, but that doesn't sound like the Riker I know. The Riker I know would have been ready to fire the phasers and torpedoes at a moment's notice.
Yeah, so
to defend the lives of his ship and crew.
Yeah, so it gets to a point where they can't flee. And he decides to take Picard's advice because, Picard, even though he's a retired admiral, he's not in command. He's not in command at this point. So, which is weird because he assumed command at the end of episode 2 so that they would engage, the ship. So it's just really hard to make any sense of what's going on. So Riker decides to go along with Picard, and they decide to do an attack, get them from behind. And well, once again, this is where the portal, they get shot in the ass basically because of the portal weapon. And the thing that Riker says, and that's how episode 3 ends, is that they're damaged to the point of they can't do anything. They're drifting down towards the gravity well. He's like, "Remove yourself from the bridge. You've killed us all." And he says this out loud in front of everybody.
No, that's not something Riker would do.
That's not something any commander would, any captain would do.
I'm wrong, but Riker especially.
Yeah, and I was talking with Pips, my the other guy that wears the sunglasses who I have on quite a bit, and he's in the military. He's been on a ship. He's been a captain, and he said that is not how a captain acts. Captain is responsible for everything that the ship does and does not do, and the people under him. Own it.
Well, that's because the people writing this show, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for them, but the people writing this show have no experience when it comes to the command structure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how episode 3 ends. In episode 4, you would think episode 4 would be, this was the one that was promised that was going to end on a TNG note. and it was more feelings. They're drifting. Riker has an existential crisis, talks about Deanna, and talks about why he left. And then Picard and Jack have another talk, and they talk about more stuff on the holodeck, and they have to bring back that bar in the holodeck because that's all we need to see is that same bar. And then Captain Shaw dislikes, once again, more manufactured conflict. Captain Shaw dislikes Riker and Picard especially Picard because he was on one of the ships during Battle of Wolf 359 because they just can't leave Locutus alone. I mean, I get that it's the most popular and probably the highest rated episode of TNG, but seriously, leave that episode alone already. I mean, it's been so many. They've already done. I think they've referenced it in every season. Like seriously, at this point, leave that alone. So he does not like Picard because he survived. He was a survivor. He was one of like 10 that were handpicked to survive, randomly survived by the captain, and they fled. They got on escape pods and escaped and escaped the destruction of the ship. So he's got survivor's guilt, and that just came out of nowhere. He just like, this was during a heart-on-heart talk with Jack, which I don't think should have happened. They were literally like, the crew was literally resigned to their fates. Captain Riker was resigned to the fate. They were resigned to die. I mean, even in some of the most disaster-based episodes, you have Microcosm, which is what Dave Blass uses to justify why the holodeck still operates despite the fact that the ship is, in complete, shambles, because there's like an independent energy. There's an independent energy core that allows it to function, so that people can use it to escape. Why would you use it to escape when you're in that situation? People are too busy. People will be too busy trying to survive, figuring out how to survive.
Mm-hmm.
You survive until by hook or crook, right? Isn't that how all the earlier shows? I mean, Microcosm, disaster episode, season 5, TNG.
There's an episode of Deep Space Nine where the Defiant gets severely injured and they lose communication with the rest of the ship, and Worf has an idea to blow up the ship, and everybody's going, "No, we can't blow up the ship. We don't even know the status of the rest of the crew."
Exactly. So why are they resigned? So they're like resigned for like almost half to 2/3 of the episode, and then Beverly figures out, and then they, like I said, they ride the wave, and that's how episode 4 ends. And of course, Riker did something pretty cringe, was throwing the ship. So episode 2, to be mean and menacing, Vadic uses the her tractor beam and throws Beverly's vessel into the Titan, damaging it. And so Riker deciding to Riker decided, revenge. So when they emerge from the nebula, or from that gravity well on with the wave and everything, he uses the Titan's tractor beam to throw an asteroid, because they're navigating through an asteroid field. So there were asteroids in the nebula. So as they're riding the wave, and before all the jellyfish show up, throws an asteroid at it. And the reason why it worked was because earlier in episode 4, they disengaged the portal weapon. They got rid of it. They were ordered to get rid of it. So like literally, like Vadic like cuts off her hand. The hand becomes like a face, like a floating ugly face. The CGI looks bad. It looked like something out of it looked like a skull, basically. And I'm assuming she's contacting other founders or renegade founders or whatever, and then they tell her, retrieve the asset, which is Jack Crusher. So first they try to beam Jack Crusher aboard their vessel. Then they try to destroy the ship with Jack Crusher aboard, and then they ransom. They say, "Hey, we're going to fire on you if you don't give him to us." And then they try to destroy the ship. They have changelings on board trying to, they're trying to destroy the ship and everything. So which is it? What do they want? Do they want him dead or do they want him alive? Or maybe I'm not looking at this closely enough.
It's bad writing. It's bad writing because on DS9, you and I both know that the intelligence were written intelligently.
Yeah, DS9, the Dominion was always 5 to 10 steps ahead of everybody. If you see, I mean, dude, they were 5 steps ahead of the Obsidian Order. Yeah. Who's 5 steps ahead of the Obsidian Order? The Dominion. Mm-hmm. You saw the Dias Cast. You saw Improbable Cause. Yeah. This was as early as season 3, end of season 3. They were an existential threat. Yeah, I am not saying.
I mean, I remember the end of part 2, where Odo says to the shapeshifter, who's the Romulan, "Why are you letting us go?" And the Romulan shapeshifter says, "Because no changeling has ever harmed another." And then we know what happens at the end of season 3.
Yeah, adversary, and the way they show like how easily they dispatch the saboteur, the shape-shifting saboteur on board was disappointing, because they just shot it in the head and it was dead.
No.
It was really hard for them to kill. It was really hard for them to kill the shapeshifter and the adversary. And then if you see, I mean, you've seen the one that poses as Martok.
Yeah, in Prelude to Armageddon, I think that was the name of the episode. But
I think it was called
Apocalypse Rising.
Yeah.
But it took multiple disruptor shots to get rid of that changeling that was posed as Martok.
Yeah, and those things are dangerous. Like, you've seen how, I mean, I'm remembering. I don't remember it exactly, but I remember picturing, like, when they figure out that the ambassador is a shapeshifter, he goes like he just flaps around like his tentacles are like rotor blades, and then goes up into the ventilation shaft like he's an alien from Alien. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was menacing, and then it took them the whole episode to find him. It was a good 2/3 of the episode was them just hunting him, and he was that hard to catch or that hard to get to dispatch.
Yeah, by the time they find him, he's posing as Odo, and so you have Odo versus Odo, and then they get into the fight up against the Warp Core, and that's when you find out who the real Odo is. When the shapeshifter posing as Odo loses his cohesion and is killed, turns into dust after he whispers to Odo, "We're everywhere."
So, I mean, this is just, my nerdy, being watching DS9, watching TNG and Voyager and all the classic shows, and this is just Picard's just not a return to form. It's not a return to form. It's Star Trek is not back, in my opinion. I mean, they still have 6 episodes to prove it, but the fact that 4 episodes have come and gone, and I mean, the fact that I was hoping they'd get better as they went, but right now I'm sour at this point. I am soured, and I hate this feeling. Like I'm just not looking forward to it. And rewatching the episode. Rewatching the episodes have not been fun. I watched episodes 1 and 2 just now. I have to still watch 3 and 4 again. So,
well, I want to ask you this, because you did this when you were watching Strange New Worlds. Do you see yourself at some point saying, "I've had enough," and walking away?
With this, no. I have to see how this ends. I have to see how, because one of the other claims, this was from Dave Cullen, was that this send-off was better than Star Trek 6 for the original crew.
That's a lot to live up to.
Yeah. And I find that right now, after watching these 4 episodes, I find that very hard to believe.
I mean, the fact that they even have the goal to say, we want to do Wrath of Khan, but we think we can do Wrath of Khan better. Nobody can do the Wrath of Khan like it was done. Nobody can top that. They've tried, and they failed.
I mean, the closest thing to the closest thing that I would compare to Wrath of Khan that was actually pretty good and pretty interesting was the finale of Star Trek Continues. Whereas instead of having, a crew on board, you have a crew of frickin' espers. And that was very interesting. But they didn't just go with, the ship to ship combat. Like there was high stakes going on. I mean, I don't know if you'd compare that to Wrath of Khan. I did. That's what I thought, kind of.
I don't know if I would compare it to Wrath of Khan, but when you watch Star Trek Continues and you watch what's being produced now, there's no comparison. Star Trek continues the legacy of the original series and does a remarkable job copying it beat for beat, making it feel like it is the fourth season of the original series.
I agree. And I mean, when I talk to younger people who just wanted to start watching Star Trek, I've talked to a few people. Paul, Paul, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who I had the honor of meeting. I always recommend if you're going to watch the original series in its entirety, watch Star Trek Continues with it, and then watch the movies, and you will get I mean, one thing that you and I, the three of us, probably did not always wonder was how would the TOS have ended. It probably would have ended shitty if they actually did 4 or 5 seasons, because they didn't do series finales then the way they did them in the 90s. So the fact that they didn't have a series finale for the original series is a blessing, because we wouldn't have gotten something as awesome as what Vic provided us. You could feel however you feel about Vic, I mean, allegations and all, people, a lot of people have decided to distance themselves from him. But beside that, I feel he put together something out of love, and I feel it should get all the praise and all the views it can get. That's why I recommend it to people. I feel it was a beautiful way to end the original series, and a great way to go or transition into the movies.
Yeah, because it did make a nice connection between the original series and movies, with the Enterprise going into dry dock for its refit, and Kirk going on the bridge one last time wearing the Admiral's uniform from the motion picture.
And I liked Vic's Kirk. Vic's Kirk was a believable Kirk. I liked Todd Havercorn's Spock. I liked all the actors. Well, except for Larry Nemesic, he's a piece of shit. But that's my opinion.
He turned against Vic.
Yeah, he decided to distance himself and say stuff based on hearsay. Why would you want to be friends with someone like that? So there you have it. So, but yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, the original series will, if just ignoring stuff like Strange New Worlds and Discovery, remains untarnished to me. Just it's really easy to just not consider those. Like Strange New Worlds is basically a retcon. That's all it is. It doesn't add to the original series. It just retcons it. I mean, I've said this before. The fact that they decided to retcon Balance of Terror, probably one of the best
episodes. Which should have never been done.
Yeah, I mean, heck, even Enterprise didn't go as far. Enterprise, they tried to maintain that continuity of people not seeing Romulans ever, not even knowing what a Romulan looks like, until that particular event, that episode. Mm-hmm. But they decided to ignore that, and that was their strong season 1 finale. Like seriously, like, and then people like that show. I'm like, I mean, like, have standards really dropped? I mean, that's my question. Have standards dropped that much? Are people just scared to be critical now?
Well, it could be both factors. People are just willing to say, "Oh, that's great," just for the sake of saying it's great, or they're saying it out of fear because they don't want the backlash. Well, you know what? part of life is criticism. And if you're going to
Mhm.
plagiarize an excellent episode like Balance of Terror, because that's what it is, in my opinion, plagiarizing it, then you have no business writing whatsoever.
I agree. I mean, you know who runs Strange New Worlds? I probably I realize. I mean, I should have realized that the moment I decided to start, commenting on the first 5 episodes. Kiva Goldsman. So as you can tell, the reason why Picard went from bad to mediocre is because of Kiva Goldsman. Even though he's still listed as executive producer, he had no creative input into season 3. Nobody wanted to touch Picard season 3, so they gave it to Terry Matalas. And I honestly, based on what all those guys, all those content creators that a lot of us follow, not all of us, a lot of us follow or used to follow, without naming names, recommended this. That had weight. And you had freaking, just the idea of Terry Matalas, who worked on Berman Trek. He wrote a couple of great episodes of Enterprise, the episode with Dagra, where they captured Dagra, and the episode with the Romulan zombies. Those were both decent episodes. Those were the former was great. The latter was entertaining, decent but entertaining at the same time. So I thought, I honestly thought this could be pulled off. I thought, the Trek could be back. I wanted to see this for myself. And this was like, last episode, the stream, I was like, I looked like I looked pale. And then a couple episodes before that, I was crying.
I saw your live reaction to the last episode, and I didn't want to speak for you, but I'm going to, Brian is not happy. He is not happy about what he's seeing on screen right now and whatever dialogue he's hearing right now.
Yeah. So that's my take. So 4 episodes in, Picard season 3, better than all of New Trek, but it's still New Trek, and it's not a return to form. It's not what I liked about Star Trek in the first place. And the writing is abysmal, and the music is full, and it's member berries and forced conflict and feelings and bulkheads, basically.
And that's not what Star Trek is about. Again, it's about the best of the best, being put into a situation and figuring their way out of a situation, or learning about a new species and broadening their own horizons.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's basically a 10-hour movie. I think they can condense this down even further. And I'm just not a fan of the whole, single serialized story now. I mean, it's just all they do is pad it out, and then they end on a cliffhanger that just feels unearned. And like, I don't mind cliffhangers per se, like, loose ends and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of the mystery box. And the mystery box is it's obvious at this point. Everybody knows what a mystery box is. It's obvious bait. And it's not something people want. People want substance, and mystery box is basically hollow. Well, most of the majority of the time.
From what I've seen with Kurtzman Trek is they're trying to be like Deep Space Nine with their serialized story. But guess what? They're not Deep Space Nine. They don't have the writers. They don't have the cast. They don't have the atmosphere that Deep Space Nine had.
And Deep Space Nine wasn't serialized like that. It was episodic with direct, story, beats that, progressed as seasons went on, or even as the season went on, or later seasons. Like, they took what they started with season 3 of TNG and they bumped it up to 10 for DS9. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of continuity in that series, but it was still, every episode was still its own. And there was no feelings in hallways. I mean, if there was feelings, it had something to do with the episode itself, what was going on in the episode. Yeah. It was relevant. And that's why I'm forgiving of classic Trek for having those moments. Heck, Wrath of Khan, you had that feelings in on the regular asteroid, because that was earned. A bunch of stuff happened, and they were setting up, hey, David is Kirk's son, or or they keep hinting that he is Kirk's son.
Or
And then
in the search for Spock, when David is killed, and Kirk hears it because it's over the communicators, and he goes, "You Klingon bastard! You killed my son! You Klingon bastard! You killed my son!" And the emotion. Say what you will about Shatner, but that scene always gets to me because you see the emotion in his face, you hear the emotion in his voice. He just heard the death of his son.
Yeah. Yeah, the way he falls, he misses his chair, like and then the other way, especially James Doohan looks at him, because Scotty lost his nephew in Wrath of Khan. So it was just seeing the acting, just seeing the actors act, really you felt something.
Mm-hmm.
And we were invested. Wrath of Khan was a brilliant movie. Ends with David saying, "I'm proud to be your son," because in the beginning of the movie, he was just like, he referred to Kirk as that Boy Scout instead of calling him dad, calling him father. And so that pays off at the end, and then we see this. So yeah, it was set up. So that was set up. It kind of undoes what Wrath of Khan does, but hey, I don't know. I understand why people would be critical of it, but at the same time, it did work out pretty well. I thought that scene was brilliant.
I thought it was too. What a lot of shows and movies are lacking, in my opinion, is a good setup and a good payoff.
Yeah, and if you're gonna establish anything, there has to be a payoff. There has to be a reason why it's in the movie, or if it's in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just put something in and just we kind of forgot about it, just for a red herring or for member berries. The member berries is getting old. When I see member berries now, I just roll my eyes. Like the jellyfish, the spaceborne jellyfish. I was just like, give me a break at this point.
I saw a couple of YouTube channels speculate on this idea before the season even came out. You remember in Conspiracy, where you had the aliens that were inhabiting members of Starfleet, and they had that gill that was sticking out of their neck as their way of breathing. Some were speculating that it could be this species. Well, unfortunately, folks, it's not. That would have been something new, something different, a follow-up to something that was never really lived up to its potential because it was a one-off type thing.
Yeah, I'm surprised they never really followed up on that. That was one idea that I had. It was either maybe the conspiracy aliens came back, and this was the existential threat that was teased for season 3, or it could have been I had a weird, wacky idea because based on just a small little clip I saw, and I didn't realize this was just the credits. But you saw musical. I thought I saw musical notes and Vatic looking at musical notes, but that was not Vatic looking at musical notes. That was the end credits where they show Mike Akuda's the L-Cars. Remember the L-Cars? Remember those consoles and everything. Remember the first Contact music that.
Oh, I was just going to mention that, brother.
Which
Jerry Goldsmith's first Contact score, which I said to Crit and Cash and everyone else who was watching it in the Discord, I said, "Oh, really? You're going to use the first Contact theme? Come on!"
Now, yeah, and they didn't even put Goldsmith's this theme based on Goldsmith during that segment. They posted it in the post end credits very quickly. I'm just like, seriously, like Jerry Goldsmith's music. This show is not worthy. I said this on my stream. Jerry Goldsmith's music is not worthy of this show.
No, it's not. We were all remarking when they were in Space Talk and getting ready to leave the Titan, how they used some of the motion picture music, and they also used some of James Horner's Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 3, Search for Spock music. And it's like,
yeah, especially with the Space Dock. The Space Dock was the most obvious one. I like that. I actually like that theme too. I use it in my intros. Mm-hmm. So, but other than the music member berries, which is probably a weakness I have, the music hasn't really been better in later episodes, like episodes 2, 3, and 4. No. And then we got 6. We have episodes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We still haven't met Lore. We still haven't met Geordi. We see very little of Marina or Deanna, but at this point,
That's fine.
Who wants to see Deanna? Who wants to see Marina? What's she gonna say? Starfleet's evil because they refuse to, because they banned this now, which was a stupid thing. So they had to re-bring up the fact that her and Riker had a son, Thaddeus, and that he dies before the events of season 1. So in between Nemesis and them, they have a son, and then he dies. I was like, wow, that's a waste.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, seriously, like, who is writing this? Like they kill Icheb in a disgusting way, a very poor, extremely poor taste.
They killed Q.
This is not a great. Yeah, they killed Q because as a fuck you to fans that were hoping that Q would snap this universe out of existence. Yeah, and they killed Hugh. They brought Hugh back, and they kill him for no reason. And yeah, they introduced the fact that Riker and Troy have a son. They have a daughter too, Kestra, based on Deanna's older sister, who didn't exist until season 7 because that was the nature of season 7 of TNG. Data had a mom. Deanna had an older sister. Picard had a son.
Just my opinion on season 7 of TNG. It's best left forgotten.
Attached was okay. All Good Things was okay. Parallels was okay. Sabrosa was not okay.
No.
Journey's End was cringe. I like Preemptive Strike with the Maquis. So those TNG's Maquis episode. Yeah. It's we haven't even gotten, heck, we didn't even get Moriarty yet. So I'm curious. Like, that was a big bombshell reveal in the first or second trailer, I believe. So
and
I'm like,
it makes me wonder if his appearances just could be 3 seconds on screen and that's it.
I think he'll have a role. He'll probably have a role. Maybe he'll distract the shapeshifters. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. He'll do something, I guess. I don't know. And who knows? Maybe they'll bring a bunch of other. They're bringing back another character. They're bringing back other characters from other shows. So I'm curious where they're going to go. Maybe we'll see Janeway. Maybe we'll see the Doctor. Maybe we'll see Ensign Rowe or Lieutenant Rowe or whatever Rowe she is now.
I've heard
we'll
some
see
rumors
O'Brien.
that Denise Crosby is actually coming back, but we'll see if that's actually true. I'll believe it when I see it.
As Sela?
Some say Tasha Yar, some say Sela, but
I think he confirmed, unless he lied, which is not impossible, but I think he confirmed that Sela's not on the show.
All right. Like I said, it's rumors I hear, and I try not to talk about too many rumors, especially on this show.
Yeah, I mean, rumors are, fickle.
Rumors are like assholes. We all got them.
Yeah, rumors are wind. Words are wind. Rumors are wind. We don't know what they are. Yeah, we all have them. They all stink.
Yeah.
So, but I have to see this one. This is one I have to see through. Just to see if this is the send-off, the TNG send-off of the ages, the best send-off of any crew.
I get where you're coming from, because I watched The Last of Us, and normally my rule is, if I'm not impressed with it by the 3rd episode, I'm out. Well, I got to the 3rd episode, and I made the choice to continue on after the 3rd episode. So once I do that, I'm committed to the rest of this series for that season. And I gotta say, as someone who hasn't played the game but has actually watched live streams of the game and watched video of the game, how hard would it have been for them to just copy and paste from the game to live action? Not very hard. Well,
how'd you feel about it? I think
felt
the
that
season's over, right?
Yeah, the season's over, and I felt that the show is mediocre. When you only have 2 episodes out of the entire 9 episodes that follow the game close enough, that's pathetic. That's pathetic, especially when the roadmap's right there in front of you.
So did they cover the entire part of the game, part of the first game, where he gets Ellie to the hospital, and was it in West Coast or something? I forget where exactly.
Yeah, Colorado.
And he decides they finds out that, in order to accumulate a cure, they have to dissect her, which would result in her death.
Right.
And Joel decides, no, I'm not going to do this. I want her to live. She deserves to live. And so he tries, and he basically kills everybody and takes her back and rescues her and gets the hell out of there. And the game ends with them driving. She asks him what happened, and I forget if he doesn't say anything or if he just comes up with a lie. I forget exactly what it was.
In the show, he came up with a lie. He told her that Marlene was okay. But
okay, so season one basically covers the entirety of The Last of Us.
To an extent, and it does deviate from certain things that happen in the game, as far as Joel and Ellie actually developing their surrogate family relationship that you see in the game, their bond that they start. Ellie's insufferable in the show.
Played by Lady Lyanna Stark.
Yeah.
Or not? Was it Lyanna Stark or? Yeah, or Lyanna Mormont. Sorry, Lady Lyanna Mormont, the little girl from season 6 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Bella Ramsey.
She was cute when she was a kid. Not quite cute now as a teenager, but I'm like, she doesn't even look likable. Like, she doesn't smile. She mean face the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to comment on how she looks. I mean, we can't. I mean, I'm not exactly, Romeo myself, but I mean,
well, just like with current Star Trek, why does every word out of Ellie's mouth have to be F this, F that? I realize you're on HBO Max, but really?
Like, don't you want us to root for these characters? If you make these characters slightly likable, we might slightly likable. You don't have to make them totally likable. I mean, they still can have their, I mean, people are complicated, but it's kind of easier for viewers to get invested.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't do that,
be invested in their predicament, and
and caring about it makes us enjoy it more. It brings out the entertainment value. Especially Deep Space Nine. I mean, you watch Deep Space Nine, you care about all those characters.
Yeah.
Especially because of the way they're developed over the course of the show. And I mean, they start off hating each other, but I mean, like, Odo is endeared to us. Heck, even Kira Nerys endears herself to us, and Cisco is just awesome in general. Quark, even though he's the criminal, always gets into trouble. Hey, causes bad people to come up and try to attempt to steal, Jadzia Dax's Dax symbiote. He gets quite a bit of development, and I love Quark. Like, Quark is awesome.
I mean, Quark and Odo, their relationship, the way it develops throughout the course of 7 seasons, and let's not forget Nog.
Yeah,
a supporting character.
Yeah. And then, of course, all of Jeffrey Combs' characters, they were all great. Brunt, Wayoon.
And look at Rom. He starts off as your typical Ferengi, and he grows.
Yeah, he grows and he becomes the Grand Nagus at the end. Brother. That's the reason why I call my brother is because of Rom. Actually,
Hello,
I picked up a habit from Rom. So, but yeah, I like all those. Like when Deep Space Nine ends, like whenever I rewatch Deep Space Nine and I get to the ending, I feel like I'm saying goodbye to like friends.
Yeah,
for a while until I rewatch the show. I mean, that's the mark of a good show, and the same can be for the show that it kind of stole its idea from Babylon 5. Same idea. It's just such great writing, such very interesting stories, and just the build up. The build up is insane. I mean, the first 6 episodes of season 4 of Babylon 5 are just insane. And then the rest of the season is almost as insane too, because the stakes are just that high.
I miss good writing. I miss good television.
Yeah, and I judge these new shows based on on the standards of what came before. Maybe it's unfair. I don't know, but
I don't think it is. I don't think it's unfair at all.
I'm not a fan of when I see modern tropes, I get pissed off, and I see a lot of those in Picard, and they instantly take me out of the episode. So, like the next episode 5, if I see another, if the episode once again opens with another flashback, and we're in that same stupid bar, that's not good. That's not a good sign.
Mm.
And if Riker acts like a jackass, like he did in the last couple episodes, then I'm going to have an issue too. So, yeah, it's getting a lot of praise. So that's why I'm still willing to watch this, and I want to see this for myself. I still need to see this for myself. So that's
you want to see it for yourself because you want to see if you can spot what everybody who's giving it high praise is giving it that high praise for.
Yeah, and and I want to enjoy it. I want to like this. And because of the modern stuff, I can't get into modern tropes. The modern tropes are just not. It's just regressive skill. Regressive writing is regressive. Everything is about New Trek is regressive, in my opinion. Excuse me.
One thing that made the original series all the way up to Enterprise engaging and interesting is they weren't using modern slang.
No.
They were making the dialogue as neutral as possible. Because let's face it, we don't use the same slang terms that they used 150 years ago.
No. It was very formal speech. The aliens sounded alien, or at least they were even more formal. Because it was always an official capacity when they dealt with aliens, usually.
Mm-hmm.
But there were, I did have some issues even back then. Bajorans were too human. Bolians are just basically blue people, annoying as hell. But at least the Bajorans were fleshed out, given this unique situation. Pressed by Cardassians and all that, fighting as freedom fighters and everything, with a religion. No other race in Star Trek has a religion as fleshed out as the Bajorans with the prophets and the Pa race. So I was okay with the Bajorans in DS9. Their relationship with the Cardassians was always very interesting. You kind of wondered if, like, especially Kira and Dukat would ever like each other. True. Which was never. But they had to work together a few times. And it was always interesting. Like, they always came up with interesting stories. So there you go. But yeah, so I that's all I can say right now, and I have something else I have to do, so I have to kind of duck out now on you. So thanks for letting me vent about this. This was that was very cool of you.
That's what Pop Talk's about, not just talking pop culture, but sometimes you need to vent. Sometimes you need to get it off your chest and say, this is what's wrong with what I'm watching right now or what I'm reading right now.
Yeah, we'll have more an opinion of Picard season 3 after we watch the other episodes. So we still have to catch up in our group.
Maybe you'll like it, Cash. Maybe you'll like it.
I don't know. We started watching the first 2 episodes. I'm like, member berries. I'm like, did they just load a? That was really annoying in the first episode with Beverly. She's like loading a phaser rifle, and we said
He keeps cocking the phaser rifle, and during that
it
whole
just
episode
bothered
1
me.
watch party, I wouldn't shut up.
Yeah,
I kept pointing out one thing after another that was wrong. I was going, since when do they need to cock the phaser rifles? Just point and shoot.
Yeah, then don't you just like you set it to a certain level and then
Yeah,
like that.
And
like
since
they-
there's been, yeah, go ahead.
Just like it's like they decide, oh, let's make this like a a normal gun, but pew pew laser. Like
There's
Star
all
Wars.
these, yeah, and a lot of these profile YouTubers and even other friends of mine are like, oh, and some of my friends that have been watching this show since the beginning, that I've been loving Picard, and I don't know. It's like, this is the season we're all supposed to watch as Star Trek fans. This is what's bringing us back. And the first episode, member berries and random cursing, and it's just like enemies that I just don't care about, and I just can't stop nitpicking that show. So I think it's going to be the same thing with episode 3 and 4 and 5 and so on.
Yeah, frankly, I haven't been impressed with the villain or this existential threat that they still have yet to set up. And the member berry, I mean, Jack Crusher sees visions of red thorns, and he sees a red upside down and a door that opens and closes. I'm like, it looks like the upside down from Stranger Things. That was something Steve pointed out right away when we were watching. So, I mean, oh wait, you haven't gone that far yet. Sorry.
No, it's okay, man. It's fine.
But it's more mystery box. I'm
sure it is.
I'm like, okay. I bet you it's going to be something under. It's going to be, they're going to reveal. It's going to be something underwhelming.
Yeah, it just might be.
So,
I don't know.
It's all right. Well, thanks for having me. I got to duck out. So
No
everybody,
problem, man.
take care and subscribe to the Phantom Hooligans and subscribe to PACIFIC414. And find a way to donate to them. Give them some money. So.
Appreciate the support, Brian.
All right. See you, Cash. See you, Mike.
See you, man. All right. So Mike will be back soon somewhere. So I think we still had one more article, if we still want to do that. That's talking about the Oscars and the award list for that this year. But I don't know. If Mike's not interested in talking about that, it's fine. So, getting back to the conversation that we just had with Brian, Nerdporial, we'll see how the rest of our group likes Star Trek season 3 of Picard. So far, not so much, but we'll see what happens.
And I'm back.
And he's back. I was covering for him because,
Appreciate that. Had to take care of something real quick.
Yep.
But
So
I
don't know.
I appreciate Brian for coming on. Thank you very much, Brian.
Mhm.
And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the Nerdporial Life Form.
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of shows that people are telling us, from Star Wars to Willow, which of course is dead now, to other stuff, to She-Hulk, to whatever. It's just, to say this is good entertainment, this is such an understatement. I really do. And so I have friends still, and they're like, you got to watch this, man. You've got to watch the show. It's great. And even when I'm watching The Last of Us, and I will catch up, because the thing is, I am not going to be like a lot of other people on YouTube and a lot of other circles who are just like, well, I heard this from somebody else, so this show must suck ass. So are you being serious, Anonymous? Are you really enjoying it? Or are you being a sarcastic person?
And Anonymous. Real quick, brother. If you have time, I understand if you don't have time, but check your Twitter DM.
Yeah. What it is that a lot of this modern entertainment, I would love to feel excited about people, but the same people that feel excited about, like, I love to feel as excited about the shows as they do. But from everything from Kenobi to Book of Boobaloo and on and on and on, and even watching, I need to catch up like with the Bad Batch season 2, but there's some of this stuff that I want to watch. But Willow and Rings of Power, and even watching some of House of Dragon, I just don't care. And maybe that just, people would always tell me I'm negative, I'm this, but why am I supposed to care about this? When I see great entertainment and it locks my brain in, I know for me it's going in the right direction. But a lot of this modern stuff, I go, why am I supposed to care? There's certain things I like I like The Menu. I thought it was very twisted. I would tell people, if you want to watch some twisted movie that has good drama in it, I would recommend that film. But even stuff like Avatar 2, I didn't love it. There was some great stuff because it was in 3D. There was some interesting stuff about family, but then there was some other crap in the movie. So I want to be excited about this, but it's hard. We're still getting through Picard, by the way, Anonymous. Are you caught up or?
I am. I'm caught up.
Okay.
You are behind because you're a lazy butthole.
No, because we've been waiting on Crit. Lazy
butthole. Or Crit's a lazy butthole. I don't know.
No, it's just we've been waiting for everybody to get together because we started this with about 5 or 6 people in Discord, and we want to make sure to continue that. And so Crit has Paramount Plus and whatever, and he's showing the. I'm not. Yeah, we're watching this, and so far we don't know what we feel. There's member berries, fine, but other friends of ours, and as you know, Anonymous, I'm sure, bigger YouTubers and whatever, they are telling us that this is the Trek you gotta love, man. It's back. It's back.
Is the Trek you've been waiting for.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, there's. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I've listened to several of the bigger guys, and most of them are like, well, some of them are full board. Yes, I get that, but the rest of them are like, this is the best Trek we've had since Enterprise or whatever the last thing was.
Well,
but
Enterprise I still think is good.
It's not the I love Enterprise, but it's still not the greatest thing. But it's the best thing we've had, and it's a good send off for for the crew, and that remains to be seen. But I still have issues with the show so far,
of course.
But I find it is the best of all. I mean, it's a low bar, obviously, but a very low bar. But yes, it is far better than anything we've had lately.
Okay.
Yeah, and there is issues. I have issues with it, obviously. I mean, how could you not, right? But also at the same time, as much as I don't know about Terry Metalis, a lot of other people do. They've talked to him. They've been on streams and stuff. And the dude seems like a true fan of Star Trek. He's not Kurtzman. He's his own dude. And maybe he went overboard with the member berries. Maybe he got a little excited. Hey, I get to do this season on my own with my own stuff, the way I want to do it. And he tried to throw every Trek thing into this to hey guys, this is all the Trek stuff. This is what I love, and I know you guys like it too. So I'm throwing, instead of creating something original, and making something new that's Trekky like, that could take it a little farther, away from the other stuff, but still be Trek. He decided to just bombard us with older Trek stuff. I know it's member berries, I know, but you have to think about his mentality, where he's coming from with it, versus hey, we just want you guys to watch us, and we want to make money off it, and we want you, it's all about money, or all about getting views, whatever. But that's what I keep in my mind. That's what I keep going to,
Mhm.
But and even at that, he's hand tied to what came before, and I understand that also.
Mhm.
So I have to give it leeway in
Mhm.
areas, and some in areas that I will completely, uh, hammer it for certain things that they could have not done, and
Mhm.
they didn't. I mean, they weren't being forced to throw in F-bombs. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I just feel that cursing for something like Star Trek is just out of place.
Yeah, it is, and I cringe every time I hear something. I really do.
Mhm.
It's not something we're used to. It's and
Mhm.
I heard some excuse from the guy, one of the writers. Oh, the F bombs. We use it sparingly, but it's going to be around for decades. It's the Swiss Army knife of curse words. We're all going to be saying it 500 years in the future. And I was like, really? Are we? If they're that advanced and that uh, uh, evolved into better human beings to work for the betterment of humanity, you think they're still going to be dropping F-bombs?
Well, this is now
I don't
think
think they
about
are.
yeah,
No.
and exactly, Anonymous. Like this has now happened in Netflix Bebop, where they had Faye cursing and saying these ridiculous things. And she cursed sometimes. She did say shit, if I remember, a few times in the anime. But this seems to be a trend now where TVMA shows have to throw cursing in there, the F word, whatever, just for some edgy stuff or whatever. I think
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
same
they're
with
trying to be edgy.
Ellie. She'll just curse, just to curse at certain points in the show that I've seen already, and they don't in the game. She didn't just curse to curse, and so I feel like now they think this is edgy writing or something just to throw a curse word in there because it's a TVMA show. It seems ridiculous to me. Maybe I'm looking too deep into that, but I don't. It seems to be a trend now with TVMA shows that let's just throw cursing in there because it's a TVMA
Because you
show.
can. Yeah, because you
Right,
can. And
right.
they, that went down the rabbit hole a long time ago when they started being able to, for some reason, somewhere down the line, they thought, or they could start saying curse words on cable TV. Nothing
Right,
over the air, but if you had USA or Sci-Fi
right.
Channel or something
Mhm.
you were paying, or you were paying for the other packages, the other channels, you could
Yep.
they could drop a GD or an S word here and there. It was fine, and then they just kind of took off from there. But now,
Right.
yeah, it's if you got an MA rating, mature audience, then yeah, we gotta throw some.
Yeah.
Here's our list of words. You need to throw a
Right.
couple in there just
Yeah.
cause.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fit in this show. It,
No.
it really never did, and it never
No.
will. And I
No.
don't give a crap what he thinks that what humans are going to be saying in 500 years in the future.
Right.
I think he's wrong, and
Right.
it doesn't belong there.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, I would like to ask you about a show I know that you recently did a review on, and it was that 90s show.
Oh, that's right. You did.
I did. And that video is not doing too bad either for me anyway. For me, it's doing pretty good.
I'm glad, man.
Yeah.
That's good. That 70s show, to me, it was always about the parents. They were the funniest thing because I had watched at least a few episodes of that 70s show. The rest of the cast, whatever that about that show, and then of course we know there was an actor who got involved in other stuff we won't go into, but uh, the show, it was just, to me, the parents were very funny. Everything else about that 70s show, it just didn't click with me, Anonymous. It just didn't.
Probably
But I like the
maybe.
parents. Yeah.
It may be because you didn't grow up in that age. I don't know how old
Maybe.
you are, but believe me, everything those kids did, I've done.
Okay.
I've known people who've done it. I've been around, a group of kids that were into this, that, and the other, trying to do these things. And the show spoke to me very plainly. It was just, it was my life growing up, right?
Okay.
So
I got you.
The cast was great. Everybody there. I mean, a lot of them are new. Some of them weren't.
Yeah.
But they got their start there. But they picked the greatest cast they could pick for that show. They all had that dark sense of humor. They all had very great ability to deliver the comedy lines and have good expressions on their face during those times and pull it off and it was which made everything funny. It's not just the lines, the dialogue spoken, it's how they react and how they express themselves during those times and they pull it off great. And if you give it a chance, just watch a season, some of the first seasons, not the last seasons. The last seasons where Eric took off and got a new kid in, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. But
right.
But yeah, give it a shot. But that 90s show was just a money grab. I don't even know if it's a money. I don't know what to call it. I mean,
nostalgia bait.
They were banking on nostalgia for sure, but they did not try. They did not even bother. It was Disney XD or whatever quality TV show, which the 70s show was never like.
Well, that's what's happened with Family Guy, Anonymous, the last few seasons especially. And it may not, I don't know if it's because Disney has taken over 20th Century Fox or whatever, but it feels like Seth MacFarlane, and you just want, like the last episode, it was okay. But it just feels like Seth MacFarlane, the rest of the cast just go in there for a paycheck, say some lines, and then leave. It just doesn't feel like they care about this anymore. And then, of course, with Seth pandering a few years ago, we're not going to make these jokes, blah, blah, that just, of course, hurts the show too. Yeah. Maybe because it's also under Disney, but even the guy that they replaced still sounds like Cleveland. It's just like, why don't you guys end this? So, of course, I keep watching this with my brother. I've been watching Family Guy since it first started. And it's just right now, it's just the last few seasons, it's just a train wreck. So you just want to keep watching the train wreck. Okay, this episode's okay. Now is this episode going to be even worse? What stupid jokes are they going to put in? What political party are they going to attack and not be more balanced about it? It's really, it sucks. And so it's like, if you guys stop this, it's okay. Yet,
yeah, if it ends tomorrow, we'll be fine.
Right. The funny thing is and I know Craig will get mad at me about this. I don't care. The funny thing is with Simpsons, though, they're actually still trying. With Family Guy, it just seems like, you know what? We're just going to phone it in mostly. It's like, man, that's weak, guys. Even South Park is still trying.
Simpsons
is still trying.
Yeah, yes. They don't have the overlords of Disney looking over their shoulder. They do what they want.
Right.
And but Seth MacFarlane, he's an activist. We figured that out.
We do.
So he's
even read an article here on Pop Talk, where he mentioned it.
So he's going to capitulate to the Disney Corp, and now that he probably is phoning it in. He probably don't care about Family Guy anymore because he can't do what he wants or can't do what he used to do because of the times and modern audiences. I mean, Family Guy got popular because of the things he did and the way it was. Right. You can't change that formula and go softer and more cuddling feelings and expect it to continue on.
And the fact that he actually came out a few years ago and was like, I'm not going to make these kind of jokes anymore is like, well, now the show is definitely going to suffer because of that. So whatever.
It's just it's a deconstruction of everything that is good.
Yes.
To bland,
it is.
Tasteless gruel that they're trying to feed us, and we're not accepting it. We'll make our own gruel that tastes better.
That's right. Yes.
It's just disappointing to see how far Hollywood has fallen. Not to say that they were the statue of virtue at any point in time, but as far as the quality of entertainment, it has fallen. You look at what we used to get 20 years ago and what we're getting now. What we got in 20 years ago, that was gold.
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously talent versus not. There was talentless people making stuff back then, and there was some crap, but there was it was.
But they were always trying something new. And
there's good balance.
They weren't worried about failing, and if something did fail, then they'd be like, "Well, let's try something else." Now it's just like they attack the fans. Unless I understand fans can be irritating and ridiculous, but the studios can be just as ridiculous, and they're like, let's do an adaptation of this. Well, I worry. Let's do an adaptation. Now, of course, we're going to have the Flintstones, and we're going to have on Fox, Anonymous. I don't know if you saw that. We're going to have the Flintstones. It's going to be called Bedrock, and it's going to be in adult versions of Simpsons because, of course, now Bam Bam and Pebbles are older now. And what are they going to? Even though it's on Fox, what are they going to do that? And they have some great voice talent, but
Cass, you want to know the ironic part?
I just don't think we need this, but
you want to know what's ironic? The Flintstones was originally geared toward adults when it first premiered.
That would make sense, yeah, because of the jokes and stuff, yeah. But they want to do a sequel after all these years.
No, and they want to tear us next on the list.
I'm just like, are they going to actually do things right? I just worry about this, even though they have some really good voice talent. I just don't know what they're going to do. I mean, it just seems like we could just keep making jokes, like Fred is hiding from Barney is telling him that he's in the closet and stuff, and he came out. I'm just saying that these kind of things could happen.
Yeah,
in this show.
No, you know what it is?
Fred's homosexual.
Fred's a grumpy old man who hates everybody.
That's right.
Wilma and Betty's having an affair.
Yep. And then we, for whatever reason, we need to have an odd couple come back with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. I don't hate those actors, obviously, but I'm just like, why does this have to happen? Just leave it alone. I don't. It's not that I'm mad about this stuff, but it's so easy to make fun of because it's just like, why are we doing this? And so maybe Flintstones will turn okay, but I just have a feeling it's not.
No,
and we're going to have a Velma situation. That's just my feeling, even though this is going to be on Fox.
Go with your gut.
I just have this feeling, and I'm just not excited about why would we need a sequel to the Flintstones? The way it was fine.
Don't be surprised if you hear this about Bedrock or any other show. They Velma'd it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can almost bet it'll happen. I mean, what have they done to any of our favorite IPs and made it good? Name one.
They've torn it down and destroyed it.
I still can't even name a good live action Disney film that I wanted to ever care about that compared to the animated ones.
Oh, you see the latest trailer for The Little Mermaid. It looks like crap.
I don't know. I've never really been much of a fan. I know the animated one's considered a classic, but for some reason, even when I was growing up, I just didn't care about The Little Mermaid. I like some of the songs, but that's about it.
I never watched that either. Disney is good on paper, but even when you're growing up and you're a boy and you like sci-fi and all that stuff, Disney was like, take it or leave it. I've seen Disney movies, but it's not like something I was dying to rewatch stuff over and over again. I've seen Dumbo and Peter Pan, I think once.
Yeah, sure.
But it wasn't like, ooh, I need this. I need to watch it again. I need to watch it. No, it's like I'm one and done, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if they did a live version of Sleeping Beauty or something. Would they ever actually would they go with the dark tone? But we already had that, I guess, with Maleficent. where they turned her more into like an anti-villain that she's misunderstood.
Yeah, of course.
Which I'm like, she's evil though. The woman is evil.
You know, if Sleeping Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Sleeping
what it was.
Beauty.
Okay, it was Sleeping
Yes.
Beauty. If Sleeping
Mhm.
Beauty wasn't ever a thing and they just created Maleficent, it would be a
Yeah.
good movie.
Oh yeah, of course.
But they destroyed their own property to create
Mhm.
something that was pandering to women and feminism.
Right.
So, and that's par for the course for Disney. They're not stopping this train. They will not stop it. They are ingrained. They are embedded into it. They are
But
full bore.
what I do want, since Pixar is the number one animated studio in the world, but I think right on their coattails is DreamWorks, especially stuff like Puss in Boots, excuse me, The Last Wish, which was really good. And I didn't see the first movie, but I really liked the second film, and I like the animation. I still enjoying the animation of DreamWorks, but Pixar just needs to be like, look, we screwed up. They should come out and say, we screwed up with Lightyear. We're gonna go back and fix the problems. I know.
Well, since we're on the topic of Disney, and this was one of the articles I had lined up for tonight. Let's go ahead and get into this article here.
All right.
From Battling in the Comics that says after an abysmal box office performance by Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantum Mania, which you all know I went and saw it and I wasn't impressed.
Poor guy, you wasted your money.
I didn't waste my money. A friend asked me if I wanted to go, and she paid for my ticket.
All right, she wasted your money. She wasted her money,
and even she didn't like it.
Well, my brother liked Kang in this movie, but he even said that he didn't like the daughter in this. He thought the CGI of MODOK was horrible.
He said really was horrible.
He said really the strongest thing in this movie he felt was Kang. He really liked Kang as a villain. So.
I didn't think Majors was bad as him. It just lacked the excitement that other Marvel's movies had before Endgame.
Yeah, I just haven't watched the last few Marvel films recently. What has there been 4 now or something? Yeah, let's see. No, there's at least been 3.
5.
There's the new movie of Thor. I haven't watched that one. The Wakanda Forever. I might watch that sometime. And then now Ant-Man, which at first I was excited about, and I'm like,
I'm proud to say I have not watched anything after Phase 4.
But according to this article from Battling in the Comics, Disney CEO Bob Iger signals cutting back
Phase 3.
Marvel
Sorry.
franchise films. Well, yeah, right there with that headline, I'm not trying to discredit Battling in the Comics or anything. This is just me. I'll believe it when I see it. But this article that's been written by Jonathan Trent says the Walt Disney Company CEO Bob Iger signaled that the company plans on cutting back on Marvel franchise films in the wake of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania performing abysmally in the box office. Well, what have I said time and time again here on Pop Talk? They should have taken a break after Endgame. I've even said it in Discord chats. They should have stopped, waited 5 to 10 years, and then picked it back up again.
Yeah, they should have sat down and wrote out an entire new series or new phase with a beginning, middle, end. Figure out which movies they're going to do, which characters are going to push this part forward, just like the phase 1 through 3. That's what they should have done.
They could have taken a break, and they could have done what was it though? The one with Scarlet Witch, where she like blows up planets and stuff because she becomes other. What the heck was it called? Other M? No, I'm thinking of something else. That comic series, people. Yeah, maybe that's the one.
The Doctor
No. It was a comic series where Scarlet Witch like blew up planets and stuff like that. It was because she becomes very super powerful, like very, very powerful.
I missed that one.
This article says Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania has only grossed, at the time of this article being posted, at least 198.1 million domestically and another 249.2 million internationally, for a global gross of 447.3 million. The film is unlikely to surpass the box office grosses of Ant-Man and Wasp, which grossed 216.6 million domestically and 406.4 million internationally, for a global gross of 623.1 million. Note these numbers are not adjusted for inflation. The film might even struggle to surpass the unadjusted box office grosses for the first Ant-Man. That film grossed 180.2 million domestically and 338.6 million internationally, for a global gross of 518.8 million. Honestly, I didn't care for, and I still don't care for, the first Ant-Man movie. During an appearance at a Morgan Stanley conference, The Hollywood Reporter's Alex Whippern, or Whipprin, reported Iger signaled the company plans on cutting back on how many films they make around certain characters. Iger said, "What we have to look at Marvel is not necessarily the volume of Marvel storytelling, but how many times we go back to the well on certain characters." It says he elaborated, sequels typically work well for us, but do you need a third or a fourth? For instance, is it time to turn to other characters? There's nothing in any way inherently off in terms of the Marvel brand. I think we just have to look at what characters and stories we are mining. Well, I mean, it's all there in the comics. There's plenty of stories you can take from it if you follow the story exactly.
House
It
of
might
M
work.
is the one I was thinking of. Anonymous House of M.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Iger then declared, and if you look at the trajectory of Marvel over the next 5 years, you'll see a lot of newness. He added, "Now we're going to turn back to the Avengers franchise, but with a whole set of different Avengers," as an example. Not only did Iger detail that there might not be as many Marvel franchise films in the works, but he indicated that the company at large has a quality problem. No shit. He said, there's so much consumer choice right now, and it comes back to what is the differential or differentiated. There's one thing obviously we have talked about is those brands, Star Wars, Marvel, and Disney and Pixar, for instance, but quality is also a differentiator. Okay, it also goes on to say, I think HBO proved that, well, in their Helicon days, when high quality programming made a big difference and not volume, Iger asserted. And because the streaming platforms required so much volume, one has to question whether that's the right direction to go, or if you can be more curated. I used the word jujitsu a few times, but I guess more picky about what you're making and to concentrate on quality and not volume. Well, you have yourselves to blame with all the different Marvel TV shows you put on Disney Plus, with all the movies you continuously pump out. Take a break, take a breather, reset those creative juices. Should have done it after Endgame. Iger previously indicated that quality was a problem when it comes to Marvel during the company's Q1 fiscal year 23 earnings results call while answering a question from Michael Nathanson, the Muffet Nathanson. Iger said, and additionally, we are going to lean more into our franchises, our core franchises, our brands. I talked about curation and general entertainment. We have to be better at curating the Disney and the Pixar and the Marvel and the Star Wars of it all. And of course, reduce cost on everything that we make. While we are extremely proud of what's on screen, it's gotten to the point where it's extraordinarily expensive. We want all the quality. We want the quality on the screen, but we have to look at what they cost us. Well, if you didn't keep pumping out series after series, movie after movie, maybe you can work on that quality.
Well, it's not only that. I don't understand what he's talking about curating, but they're mass producing assembly line crap just so they can have stuff on their streaming service. We need content. Don't worry about the quality, but they're sacrificing playability or replayability for cheap content. It's a double-edged sword. It's catch-22. I don't know what you want to call it, but if you have crappy TV shows and movies, nobody's coming back to watch those again. So nobody's going to sign up for your stupid streaming service, or they're going to do it for a little bit and then bow out.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened. You should have just slowed down, created quality content. Even if it took you a little longer, it would have worked out better for you in the long run. But no, they're dumb.
Right. Well, like, wouldn't it have made more sense, like something like Willow, that they just continue right after the movie, or a little bit after the movie, or a year after the movie, or something like that? That would just make sense instead of going back and doing some other stuff. I don't know if this Willow show continued right after the movie, but it would just make sense to me.
The movie was back in the movie.
Right. Yeah, you go from that movie and maybe a year later, and then you go from there. And you want to focus on Willow because that's what people really want to see is Willow.
Yeah, not the lesbian girls who are trying to key to everything or whatever.
But, those are just the people that have said. I have not watched, actually, Willow yet. Some people did. I think Crit watched some of Willow, if I remember.
I think he did.
No interest. Always, barely. It was like horrific, horrifically bad.
I just had no interest in it.
No, and it's not just substandard content, which that's what they're producing. It's also message-filled retardation content. So it's not, you're not only people are bowing out because it's not a good story, or it's terrible CGI, or acting is god awful, but no, you're also bashing them over the head with your woke ideology, and that's just doubly worse. And
right,
what are you going to do? I mean, you are actively trying to drive away your customers. So they deserve what they get. I'm sorry, they deserve what they get. They're that dumb. They want more content at the sacrifice of good content, and you're sacrificing your customer base to do it.
Yeah, I'm not going to read the rest of this article because I think we all can pretty much sum up with our own opinions what the problem is. You just said it, Anonymous.
I wish they would learn, but they won't. And that's the worst part of it, I think, is because they have so many IPs. They have so much stuff.
Yeah, these monopolies are crazy, man. It's the same with like the problems with, they're different problems, but the problems with DC, like do I want to see the new Shazam movie? Is that going to bomb? It looks like it is, and it's just, other people are like, oh, I'm excited about that. Or when people want to see Black Adam, and even that, I was like, am I supposed to care about this? there's poor marketing also with a lot of these IPs. And like, I thought there was like good marketing for something like Andor, and Andor was like, wow, okay, so we actually had characters killed in Star Wars. They didn't actually come back. We actually had characters where people actually cared about them. We actually saw how the Empire can just manipulate people without even killing them. That was just brutal. And you're just like, okay, so this Andor show, and especially if you like Rogue One, because I always feel like if you don't like Rogue One, I don't think you'll ever like Andor. But
Yeah.
Cassian, I like his character, and so the way that they build it up, even though I would have liked some more action, but the way they built it up, I was like, wow, this is a quality Star Wars show. And now we finally got more of a serious tone, which is what I wanted from Star Wars. And I think a lot of hardcore fans or fans in general want that serious tone, and it wasn't so goofy like Kenobi was goofy and Book of Boobaloo was definitely goofy, but they actually had a serious tone. And I'm like, if they do more of this kind of Star Wars, then I'll be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen in the future of the shows.
Well, that's the problem. That's they screwed up there too, because Andor was a flop, right? They didn't.
I don't know if it was a flop. I think people liked it. I don't
think
it's,
the people who
get
did
a second season. I think it should be getting a second season, but it's going to be a while.
Yeah. Well, from all I heard, that it was nobody cared about it. It didn't make the biggest splash that they hoped it would.
Well, if you're looking more for a serious tone, especially in a Disney Plus series, a live action one of Star Wars, I would recommend it. And on a series.
Well, yeah, but I hear that it is decent Star Wars, but nobody ever. I think more people have blackpilled on Star Wars that they don't.
Yeah, and that's the other problem too. I've talked about this with Crit and other people, that after Andor came out, people, after how they felt about Kenobi, a lot of people, and Book of Boobaloo, that they were just like, man, I'm getting tired of Star Wars. So I don't know how much Andor was an impact on Star Wars fans or even old Star Wars fans. I don't know.
Probably not enough, especially after Mandalorian season 3 came out.
But I did see a lot of that. They're like, I don't care about Andor because I did not, because of how I felt about Kenobi and Book of Boobaloo.
Yeah.
And after those two shows, they're like, why am I supposed to care about Andor? And I get that argument also. So.
And it's not even that. They probably could have cared about it if those other shows were good, but why?
Right.
And there's another part of why would I invest my time into this one show when the rest and everything else after that's going to probably suck? And that's exactly what's happening.
Right.
So it's time investment. What is it worth it? I mean, when you were watching the first prequel episode, number one, for most people, it was good enough to invest the time into going.
Oh, absolutely.
One and the next.
Yeah,
one.
definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, however people felt about it, even if there were people who didn't like certain things, but they just kept going to the theaters and seeing it over and over again. They saw Phantom Menace over and over again. They saw Attack of the Clones over and over again. And of course,
I went and saw Revenge of the Sith 3 times.
Yeah, with different friends and different people and whatever. They just kept seeing those movies over and over again because, as I always point out, as goofy as this is, and I know I can get in fights with people with prequels, of course, but as goofy as certain things were, there was still a cohesive story there.
Yes, and there was more good than there was bad.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
George could have refined. I mean, he could have had some help to refine those movies better. But I mean, it is what it is, and we were starving for freaking Star Wars content by that time. And he did. And that's the one thing he did right, was like take a hiatus from movies and stuff to. For such a long time that we were drooling at the thought of a new Star Wars movie.
Yeah. So you just don't know. Like I want Ahsoka and some of these other shows to be good, but then there's Acolyte, and it's like the people working on this, I'm not sure. I just, and it's like, oh, I'm so excited about this Star Wars content. I hear it from other friends of mine. I'm like, I'm glad for you guys. I just wish I could feel that way. I just can't.
Yeah, I want that feeling back too. I'd love.
Yeah.
to just get excited again for a
Yeah.
new Star Wars movie or
Mhm.
Yeah,
anything Star
absolutely.
Wars.
Yeah. You know, like I liked Andor, but it was like, oh my gosh, Andor, like I gotta watch this. It's amazing, the most amazing thing. No.
No, it's not a multiple watch. I don't know. For you, maybe one day down the road,
Maybe,
a
yeah.
year or two or something, you're like, oh, I'll watch Andor again. But
Yeah.
for most Star Trek or Star Wars stuff, it's like I watched it today. I mean, if it's new, especially if it's new, if you have it on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, it's like
Mhm.
I watched it today, and then I watched it like 3 days later, and then I watched it another week later.
Yep.
Because it was it's freaking, it made you feel good. It was Star Wars, and
Yep.
it took you
Right.
back, or whatever it
Mhm.
was. It just
Yep.
that's what I want. That's all
Yeah.
we asked for. That's all we asked for, and you took a dump on us.
Good quality entertainment with good stories is all we're asking for. It's not
Yep.
that hard.
That's right.
Yep.
And to make a transition, we are now going into this article from Cosmic Book News, and it's talking about 2023 Oscar winners, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Mm-hmm.
They fixed racism. We're done, ladies and gentlemen. Racism is over.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, they finally broke that glass ceiling that they wanted to.
That's
Because we
right.
don't know how many times they're going to break it. Yeah.
The article starts off by saying the 2023 Oscars were held on Sunday night, and the multiverse movie done right. Everything Everywhere All at Once came out on top with 7 Academy Awards. The flick won Best Picture, Best Director Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. Best Actress Michelle Yeoh. Best Supporting Actor Ki Hu Kwan.
Mhm.
Data.
Also known as Data in Short Round. Data in Goonies and Short Round in
Yeah.
Temple of Doom.
Yeah, he's been in some quality roles for sure. Glad to
Best
see him back
Supporting
acting.
Actress Jamie Lee Curtis. Best Writing Daniel Kwan and Daniel Schneider. And Best Film Editing Paul Rogers. Fan favorite Brendan Fraser won Best Actor for The Well. Guillermo del Toro won Best Animated Film for his Pinocchio. Best
Mhm.
Sound went to Top Gun Maverick. You do know that film has a problem because it preaches patriotism
Yeah, that's why it didn't win.
and the American military. And that's what that one article that we read on Sunday was saying.
Yeah, I
Jesus.
guarantee you, they got Best Sound because they had to give him something. Because basically, that was the best picture of the year for sure. But they, for sure,
It's
couldn't
definitely
give it
one
to
of
him.
them. It's a great movie. So yeah. I didn't ever see it winning, but just being nominated, I think it.
It's
right.
better. It was a far better movie than most of that stuff. Everything Everywhere All at Once was a good movie. It was goofy in areas and kind of confusing a little bit, but it was a good movie, and maybe it deserved to win a couple awards, maybe.
Yeah,
but sorry, everybody loved Top Gun Maverick because it was a good freaking movie.
it was great. Yeah,
And Hello Padawan so far the week's good. Got my lawnmower repaired, and
all right.
the guy who repaired my lawnmower only charged me $40.
Oh, that's nice.
It was the price of the part, and he says I don't charge any more than what I paid for the part.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how's he supposed to make a living doing that?
I don't know.
He wants repeat business, is what he told me. He doesn't want to price gouge people.
Well, you got to charge you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to make any money.
Yep.
That's a terrible business model. I'm sorry.
He just does that as a side thing. It's not his main thing.
All right. Well, that's bad. That's different. See, now, Mike.
Yes.
Now, being a guy who does side jobs on certain things, I'm always one of those guys who either if it's an easy job, I'll say don't worry about it. No money. I don't want your money. Or if it's a harder job, I'll lowball myself, $10, $20, depending on what it is. And when I do that, it helps them feel like they're getting a super good deal, but they'll want to pay me anyway, so they'll give me whatever they think I'm worth.
If you're asking, did I tip him? Yes, I did. I tipped him well.
See, there you go. That's how our shade tree hustle works. We don't gouge you, we don't overprice you, especially because we're shade tree, but we and sometimes it bites us in the butt and we don't get paid anything, because some people are like that. But a lot of times most people will hand over what they think we're worth, and usually it's pretty good.
Yes, I did give him, I'll tell you, I gave him a $20 tip.
That's fine. If it was an easy job, that you think it's worth $20, and then that's what it's worth.
He's helped me out before, so I know he does good work, and that's why I call him.
Yeah.
If I can't figure it out, or if I don't feel like tinkering with it because I think I'm just going to make the problem worse, then I call him.
Yeah, I've done that too. I screwed up a job, or screwed up some stuff trying to do myself, and I'm usually pretty good. I'm a handy dude, and I've fixed a lot of stuff, but sometimes I get a little bit out of my league.
And this was just one of those things that's like, nope, I am not going to touch it because I got a feeling I'll make it worse.
You always go with your instincts.
Mm-hmm. And getting back to this article, Pinocchio won for Best Animated Film, Best Sound went to Top Gun, and Best Visual Effects went to Avatar: The Way of Water. Admiral, there be whales here.
The special effects in 3D are pretty cool, but I can't say I love that movie. But it seemed like it was just something to see, and it's like, well, whales, more native tribe stuff, okay, and
White man bad.
The best, right? It's like all the people that came down to the planet are all white and evil. I don't know. It just felt that way. It was funny. But the best thing, of course, once again in this movie that I felt was the Colonel. He's evil. He's manipulative. He manipulates people. Excuse me.
That's what happens when you don't give Forrest Gump his box of chocolates.
But I still don't think it should have been up for Best Picture.
And probably not. It probably won the right award, I guess, because that technology that they made for that is pretty good. It's far better than anything Disney's done.
It's
as
impressive.
Far as
considering that's under Disney, yeah.
Well, but this is James Cameron stuff, though.
It is. It is.
What's that? What's the stupid green screen crap that they do?
The CGI stuff.
The volume. Yeah, that's just god awful, and I need to stop using it.
I'm tired of CGI backgrounds and.
Well, there's that. It's just like, and there's still movies, of course, unfortunately, that overuse slow motion too much, just too much, and they need to
slow motion and the same sound effect.
Yes.
Yeah, and if you want me to repeat that, I can.
Yes, I'm sure.
But do it slower.
I can't. All right, I can't do it without laughing.
Yeah. It's something. It really is.
And the best costume design went to Wakanda Forever. It marked the first time a black woman has won an Oscar 2 times, with Ruthie Carter winning it for Wakanda Forever. And let's see, the list of 2023 Oscar winners goes as follows. Ladies and gentlemen, it's lineup time, so please have your pencils and scorecards ready.
Mm, mm, mm.
And these, I'm going to read everything that's here, and then, of course, I'll say who the winner was if you don't know already. Best Picture, your nominees were All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar,
remake.
The Way of Water,
Yep.
The Banshees of Inisherin,
Yeah.
Inisherin,
Yes.
Elvis, Fablements,
Of course.
Tar, Top
The
Gun Maverick,
Fablemans I thought was really good. Tar I haven't watched yet. Yeah.
Triangle of Sadness, Women Talking, and of course, you see there in bold letters, Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I do plan on checking out.
It's good. I
Yeah, I
don't get me
need to
wrong.
watch
It's a good
that.
movie. There's some weirdness with the hot dog finger lesbians, but universe, but it is what it is.
Okay.
And for Best Director, your nominees were Martin McDowell, and you had Daniel Kwan and Daniel Schneider for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and of course Martin McDonagh was for The Banshees of Inisherin. Steven Spielberg for The Fablemans. Well, he was directing his own stories, so
Yeah, it was really good though. Really good movie.
Todd Field for Tar and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. Of course, your winners were Daniel Kwan and Daniel Schneider for
Yes.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. Best Actor, your nominees were Austin Butler for
Yep.
Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Well, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nighy for Living. And of course, Brendan Fraser won for The Well, which I think is well deserved. He's always been a quality actor, in my opinion. It's unfortunate that Hollywood basically shunned him for as long as they did and treated him like shit.
Yes, that's true.
Well, they just made up for it.
Yeah. he did.
Everything's good now.
Yeah, everything's fine, I guess. Yeah.
Here's an Oscar. You cool? We cool?
We're cool now, right? We're cool.
I mean, even those
Not
mummy
saying
movies-
that Brendan Fraser would do this.
First
Meanwhile, he's holding his Oscar and he's flipping them off.
I mean, yeah, he was in stuff like Encino Man, which I guess a lot of people still enjoy.
Oh, come
I
on,
like that Encino Man, Cash. Come on, that was fun.
Squeeze it the juice,
Oh, man.
buddy.
Nugs.
What else? Oh, he was in that movie. What was it? Monsters with Ian McKellen. That was twisted. Did you guys see that one?
No,
I think
never
it was
heard of
called. I think it was called Monsters. I'll go look it up. He was being abused or something by this. Ian McKellen was playing he was playing, if I remember, a some kind of gay professor or something. And you guys never saw it? It's really twisted. It's very good though. And of course, Bedazzled. That was a remake. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good. George
Brendan
of the
Fraser was in
Jungle.
that. George of the Jungle.
I like that too. It was goofy and stupid, but I liked it.
And of course, the
Oh,
Mummy. Let's not forget the Mummy.
Yes.
Oh, one underrated movie he was in that I really like is God, now I can't remember the name of it. The one with Joe Pesci, where they were college students.
I'll go look it up.
With
Thank you,
honors.
Cash.
With honors.
Oh yeah, that's a great movie.
Yes, it was a very good movie. Joe Pesci was freaking excellent in that, and so was Brendan Fraser. See, that's where that's where he showed his range, I guess, from doing stupid, goofy comedy movies to something a little more serious and dramatic. And he could have branched out a little farther from that, and he might have had, but I probably didn't show up on my radar. But yeah, he's a good actor, and he had some range. So.
And for Best Actress, your nominees were Kate Blanchett for Tar, you had Ana de Armas for Blonde, Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Michelle Williams for The Fablemans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And as you can see, Michelle Yeoh won.
Stop the Asian hate. Oh yeah, Airheads. Forgot about Airheads.
And I do want to say hello to Janet from another planet. How are you
Hello,
doing tonight,
Janet.
Janet?
Hello, Padawannabe. And if Stephen Ransom's still out there listening in, hello to you.
And for Best Supporting Actor, your nominees were Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin.
Yep.
Y-
That
yeah,
movie
Bri-
is very good, especially if you like deep drama. There's some screwed up stuff in that movie, but it's very good.
All right. I definitely add that to a list of movies to check out. You also had Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway. You had Judd Hirsch for The Fablements. You had Barry Keegan, for The Banshees of Inisherin. And you have Ki Hu Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And Short Round Data 1.
Yeah, he did. So there was also a movie that I don't know if you guys saw that had Brendan Fraser in it. Looney Tunes Back in Action. He was good in that as well.
Dude, I just bought that Blu-ray.
Good movie.
Just got it.
I liked him in that.
Yeah.
And he was also in the movie called The Scout, where he played a pitcher who pitched for the Yankees, and his character didn't like the limelight. Being on the bright lights of New York Stadium and the pressure that was being put on him.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. See, that's one of those that just kind of flew past my radar there.
Well, me being, not only a nerd, but also into baseball.
True. That helps.
Yeah, his latest project that he's doing, he's still working on Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
So he's been working on that since 2019. He's done 40 episodes of that. So there's a lot of Brendan Fraser films I haven't seen or heard of, really. There's some, but not a lot. I can't believe he was in G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra.
Really?
Sergeant Stone, uncredited.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be in a G.I. Joe
I
movie.
try to forget about the G.I. Joe live action films.
Yeah, me too.
I wish I could do the same for the Transformers ones, but unfortunately, no.
The first three are fine and Bumblebee, but other stuff,
Your Best Supporting Actress nominees were Angela Bassett for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Han Chow for The Well, you had Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, and Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it went to Jamie Lee Curtis.
yes.
You see the look.
Angela, yeah, you're about to mention that. Yes, Angela Bassett did not look happy about that. It reminded me when Eddie Murphy lost for Dreamgirls, and yeah, he was great in that. He really was, but yeah, they weren't happy. So.
Yeah, sorry, it was the Asians night that night. Sorry.
Right.
You had to pick one over the other, and it just wasn't your night.
Yeah, just
one.
One
minority at a time. That's all they could do.
Yeah.
Your Best Writing nominees were Martin McDonough for The Banshees of Inisherin. You had Daniel Kwan and Daniel Schreier for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner for The Fablements. Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness, and of course, Everything Everywhere All at Once got another award.
Yes.
And that was given to Daniel Kwan and Daniel Schreier. So, Best Writing Adapted Screenplay, your nominees were Edward Berger, Leslie Patterson, and Ian Stokell. All Quiet on the Western Front. Ruin Johnson. Yes, I said that on purpose.
I did like the Glass Onion though. I always laugh that even Bounty in the comics was like, this movie was so predictable. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Shut up.
You go argue that with Mahler. I'll see. I can see that argument.
Yeah.
He hated that movie.
You had Kazuo Ishiguro for Living. Screenplay by Aaron Kruger, Eric Warren Singer, and Christopher McQuarrie. Story by Peter Craig, Justin Marks, Top Gun Maverick. And your winner was Sarah Polley for Women Talking.
Yeah, I heard that was a really good movie. So, and Sarah Polley, one of the first things that I ever saw her on, or the first thing, was she was in that underrated movie Go. And if you haven't watched Go, I highly recommend it. It's funny, it's crazy, it's disturbing a bit.
We've learned that Cash likes very twisted and disturbing movies.
Yeah, that's
Some of
one
them
thing
I
we
do, yeah.
on Pop Talk. So Cash, what else are we gonna learn?
I don't know. It depends.
You're coming out of the closet.
And
oh my gosh. No,
your
not interested in any of that.
your best animated feature film nominees were Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Marcel the. I heard you whispering. I heard you whispering.
I can't help it. Every time, ever since, have you guys watched What We Do in the Shadows?
Oh, I heard it's very funny. I haven't watched it.
I liked it. It's pretty funny.
I hear it's pretty funny. Yeah,
it's a little dirty, but the guy,
of course,
Nandor or whatever his name is, he has a familiar guy with him. You know, a human. His name's Guillermo, and I just the way he says it, I say it now just like that, Guillermo. And so I know how to say his name, and it's a funny thing. It's the way he says it. And every time I hear it now, I just think Guillermo. I see his face, and I hear how he says it.
Yes.
Yeah, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, The Seabees, and Turning Red, and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio 1. You see what I did there?
Yes.
I'm going to get you in. Right. I'm teaching you.
You all know. You watch Pop Talk long enough. There are certain things I can't pronounce to save my life.
We still come back anyway. It's okay.
Yeah. He's hiding in the closet right now, thinking about what he's saying now.
Okay, Cash. I haven't played this one in a while, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and play it. You can blame yourself.
All right.
You can blame yourself for this one. Well, I would hope you blame him because it's easy to blame Cash. Here we go. All right, Cash.
All right, youngster, out you go. Don't come back. Ever.
Why are you so easily offended?
No, everybody knows it's a joke by now on Pop Talk. I just like doing it for fun.
It's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Yep.
I think that's why some people tune in. Okay, how long before Mike kicks somebody out? Because they know I'm going to bring them back at some point anyway.
We got a pool. Going. Who had?
Well, it was just funny.
804.
Because Anonymous started talking about people hiding in the closet and stuff. I'm like, well, what if the closet is nice?
I've seen some pretty nice closets before.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at this jacket. This is nice.
Hey, there's a toilet in here and a refrigerator.
Okay. It's interesting. All right.
Peter Wannabe says What We Do in the Shadows, basically vampires with a film crew, MTV Real World style.
Yeah, it's funny.
I still don't understand why Ghosts on CBS is so popular. I don't know. A lot of people like that, and every time I see a clip, I go, I can't watch this show.
What's that?
Ghosts. It's some weird stuff. These people are ghosts, and
it's not based on the Patrick Swayze film from the 90s, is it?
No, it is not. Not at all.
Great. If it had Whoopi Goldberg in it, I definitely wouldn't watch it.
That's when Whoopi was, pretty chill. So.
Say so.
Yeah. She didn't go crazy like she did. Once she got on the View, all hands on deck. So
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
what we got to play that one about what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass.
Oh, but you want that?
You know
That soundbite, huh? Yeah, I'm going to play the actual one because we haven't used an F bomb all night.
No, we have
So
not.
Gratuitous.
So you want that clip? I'll play that clip. I just gotta go through the millions of clips I have. Where are you? Hey Walter, where are you? I didn't delete it, did I?
I hope not.
Like
No. Oh no.
oh no. I think I might have accidentally removed it.
No.
Oh no.
Oh no.
No. I didn't. It's just not where I expected it.
Do you see what happens, Larry, when you fuck a stranger in the ass?
And remember, kids, make sure that you destroy the right car if you're going to destroy it, not the wrong one. Actually, don't do that at all.
Man.
Don't do that at all. That's horrible advice.
Yeah.
This is not Grand Theft Auto. Come on, man.
Come on, man. What kind of advice are you giving, Cash Money? Actually, you're going to be called paperless money.
Oh, no. That would be bad.
So, your best international film, you had All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina, 1985, Close, EO, The Quiet Girl, of course, All Quiet on the Western Front won. Yeah. Best documentary feature was All That Breathes, All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. Sounds like an episode of the Pop Talk.
Ain't no beauty here. What are you talking about?
Fire of Love, A House Made of Splitters, or maybe that's more accurate.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate.
And Navalny? I don't freaking know.
I think that's probably right. Yeah.
And Navalny won.
The naval movie. The belly button movie.
It was. He said naval.
He said naval.
I believe I do have a sub of that, so it's gonna take me too long to look for it. But he said naval. Yeah. So, best film editing, your nominees were Mikhail E.G. Nielsen for The Banshees of Inisherin, Matt Vila and Jonathan Redmond for Elvis. Matt Vila, I wonder if he's related to Bob Vila.
No.
I'm trying to make a joke here. It's a very bad joke, but it's a joke nonetheless.
We put up with you, man. We really do.
Paul Rogers, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Monica Willie, Wet Willie time. Tar, okay, yeah, I know. Grow up. And Eddie Hamilton for Top Gun Maverick. And of course, Paul Rogers won for Everything Everywhere All at Once. And you know what? From this point on, I'm just going to say who the winners were. Christian M. Goldbeck and Ernestine Hipper, All Quiet on the Western Front, were your winners for Best Production Design, Best Sound. Went to Mark Weingarten, James H. Mather, Al Nelson. He had Chris Burden and Mark Taylor for Top Gun Maverick. And Best Visual Effects were Joel Lettery, Richard Bainham, Eric Sandon, and Daniel Barrett for Avatar: The Way of Water. Best cinematography was James Friend, All Quiet on the Western Front. Best music original song was Natu Natu from RRR, music by M.M.
something or other.
Kira Vanny. I gave it a try. At least it was
right.
wasn't
It
Lady
wasn't
Gaga's song.
that
Top
was
Gun
the
Maverick.
worst thing about Top Gun was that end song, and it didn't take away from the movie, but it still was like, ugh.
It didn't add to the movie either. It
No,
wasn't.
it did not. It wasn't a good choice for a song. For
It wasn't like in the original Top Gun, playing with the boys. Anytime you hear that song, what do you think of? What do you think of? You think of the volleyball scene in the original Top Gun.
Right.
It's like Take My Breath Away when Charlie and Maverick are making out.
Right. Yes.
Or, Danger Zone. Yes, they used it at Maverick too, but
Yes.
whenever you hear Danger Zone, what do you imagine? You're driving to your car. You think you're a fighter pilot going down the highway. I got a bogey on my 6. So your best music was Volker Bettelman for All Quiet on the Western Front. Best costume design was Ruth E. Carter for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Best makeup and hairstyling was Adrian Morat, Judy Chin, and Anne-Marie Bradley for The Whale. Best live action short film winner An Irish Goodbye. Best animated short film was The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And best documentary short film was The Elephant Whispers. So there you go.
It was a sweep for the Asian people that night. But I don't know. I hate award shows. I really hate them. I hate them with a passion. I don't watch them.
They can be aggravating, especially when they're saying politics. But this time, it's like I guess they told Jimmy Kimmel to pretty much shut up about a lot of this stuff, so he did.
Just make fun of the last Oscars.
Just make fun
Will
of
Smith.
Toast. Yeah, make fun of a lot of time. Yes. But I haven't seen a lot of those movies, so I just didn't watch the show. I was like, well, I don't think I missed much, but I just didn't watch the show. But yeah, people were saying, this was a better Oscars than they've seen in a number of years. But is that saying much? I don't know. But it's I just haven't watched those movies, and so I just didn't watch the Oscars. Maybe next year if I watch those movies before I watch the Oscars. But
I was watching the season finale of The Last of Us, so.
I don't even know what I was doing. When was it on?
Sunday.
Sunday, yeah.
Sunday. I might have been streaming Hogwarts or something.
You might have been.
Yes, the Wizard Anonymous.
I'm a wizard. You better believe it. No,
he's a wizard.
I'm a hapless wizard that don't know what he's doing. So
speaking of which, what do you have coming up next on your channel, Anonymous?
More than likely it's that again. I'm not getting anything. I'm not a streamer. I'm not a game streamer, but yeah. I thought I'm gonna be playing this game, and a friend over on 540 Spartacus bought it for me. So I was like, well, you know what? He's gonna get something out of it too. So so I decided to pony up and turn on some OBS and stream that sucker.
Yeah.
So this will be the first and probably the last game you'll ever see me stream, because I'm very boring.
Yeah, I'm not ruling it out. Never say never.
Never say
right.
You may say this may be the first and the last gaming stream, but you never know.
That's right.
That's true. I thought, for sure. I was like, well, I'll probably get a few more hours on my very tiny YouTube partner hour count, but I didn't get any.
You just keep working it, man. And
it's funny. I didn't know how it worked, so I was like, well, yeah, I'll get a few hours. People watch it a little bit,
Just keep working it. Like if you're gonna do I don't know, if you're gonna play Harry Potter or play something else, if you have the time, I always say if you have the time, like try to do about 5 to 6 hours or even more after that, because you'll be amazed how people will just pop in and see what happens. And
Not only that, when people start to realize that you're also doing live streams and not just uploading videos, they'll
Mhm.
come by.
Yep.
There have been
Yeah.
some streams that I haven't even announced ahead of time, and I was surprised at the amount of people that actually came by, stuck around for a little while, left, then would come back.
Yes.
Yeah,
As
there
lo-
were some people that
As
came
long
in.
as you're having fun playing it,
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
matters.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yep.
You know, it took some trial and error to get the bugs worked out to where I wasn't like dropping frames, and that first one was
Yeah.
a crap show. But
Hmm.
you know, I got it going on, but I don't know. It's hard to gauge what's my entertainment value. What
You're you're gonna be putting a lot of hours into Hogwarts, so especially if you need to get extra stuff if you want to. So
Yeah, it's I kept thinking it's like how am I going to finish this game in like 2-hour increments? You know, I'm gonna be streaming this thing for the next 5 years.
And old man, why did you say
Why
that
is it-
today was your birthday?
Oh my
you looking
gosh!
Come
looking for
on,
that
man.
shameless plug of your birthday, man?
Happy 45th, man! Happy 45th.
I was gonna say it's his 37th birthday, right?
Yeah, he
Well,
turned 30 or something, right?
Somewhere in
Okay.
that range, 37, 45. You know,
Yeah.
it's hard to gauge nowadays.
So real quick, because we won't get in trouble for doing this since it's public domain. Well, why don't we just sing a little happy birthday?
Oh boy. Is that what
Hey,
old man wants?
he may not want it, but he's gonna get it.
Did he do that? So yeah. Okay.
By the way, you might want to plug your ears to prevent them from bleeding.
All right, I'll mute myself. All right, go ahead, Mike.
All right, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, old man. Happy birthday to you.
You suck. No.
That was fine. Yay! Yay!
Yay. Happy birthday, man. Glad you're still here. Glad you're around. And
Yep.
hope you are here for a lot longer.
Yep. He finally turned 16. That's amazing. Old man.
Wow.
That's great.
He's old enough.
Sweet 16.
No.
No, you're 16. You're 16. You're
he
getting your
finally-
license
maybe-
soon.
Oh no, maybe he turned 21. That's what happened. He turned 21 now.
Oh, he can finally go out and get a drink legally.
Yeah.
Finally. Yep. Heard he's going to join the military soon. That's crazy, man. It's going to be interesting. A few years, right? Right, old man.
He's ripe. He's ripe for the draft.
So, Cash,
Yes.
what does Phantom Hooligans have coming up?
We've got that broken down. I'm going to use Phil's word. The broken down version of Grand Theft Auto, that Saints Row 2. That'll be coming up. I'm gonna try to see how long I can play that before it crashes again, because it's got some problems and it's an old game. So they never exactly fixed it, but I thought I fixed it pretty well. So yeah, that'll be coming up. And then I think either this week or definitely next week, because I'm feeling a lot better, we got to start with our Streets of Rage 4. And then if anybody else wants to join us, we'll have 2 more spots open. So
Yes.
mm-hmm.
We've been talking about it for a while, but you were out of action because of that cold.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yep.
And as far as what's coming up on this channel, well, Friday I will be streaming a game, but it won't be a Mega Man game.
Oh, no Mega Man.
Not this week. Not this week. Not saying I won't pop in a Mega Man stream over the weekend. I just might. But this Friday, and Anonymous, I am not copying you. You can already see that it's been scheduled. I too
saw that as part 4. It's like, where's part 1 and through 3? I haven't even seen those.
go into the playlist. Go into the playlist.
Yeah.
Were you privatizing those?
No, they're not private.
Like,
Go to the
I didn't see
Hogwarts.
them.
Go
all your
Go
stuff
to the
usually pops
Hogwarts
up.
Legacy playlist, man.
Oh my gosh!
Anytime I do a game stream and I'm playing a game, one after another of the same game, I'll make a playlist for it.
Yeah. Very good.
But yes, I too will be playing Hogwarts Legacy.
Copycat.
The adventures of Mike Trotman will continue. The worst wizard in Hogwarts.
I don't know, man. I get some competition for you.
You guys will figure it out. It just takes time. But I just don't let people backseat game you. Figure it yourself. Well, Mike will. You should do the same thing, Anonymous, because you'll feel more rewarded if you do that. I can guarantee you.
I'm fine. I mean, Spartacus tries to help me, and he's good, and he helps me out a little bit, but because he's already played it, and which is fine. And he bought me the game, so I let him help me.
All right.
It's not too often that I need help. Most of the time, I'll figure it out. There's a lot of puzzles in this game, so sometimes you need a little hint here and there. So he's helpful. It's helpful to. I don't want to, telling me everything, obviously, but I am a gamer and I can figure stuff out for myself.
That's right.
But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's all cool, man. Mike, I will give you some hours. I will pop up your stream and watch some, and when I can, and like I said, YouTube is not kind to streamers who aren't already in the partner program, so. Those live hours don't count towards your watch hours, which sucks.
And I'll do the same for you. And if you got a playlist and you just want me to keep that playlist on all day and have it playing in the background, I'll do that for you.
Well, I mean, I don't want to like everybody turn into bots or anything, but. But I always like helping out everybody who's not monetized yet, especially since I know that now. I always did it before, but if I can't watch the stuff as much as I like to, I will at least pop their video up and let it play. Yeah. So they'll get those hours. It helps them out.
Well, I definitely appreciate it. I mean, I'll definitely turn on a video, or if somebody had a live stream, I'll turn that on. And even if I can't watch the whole thing, I'll still have it on in the background while I'm doing stuff and listen to everything that's going on.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, besides Hogwarts Legacy coming up on the channel, which will be at 6 p.m. Eastern this Friday, 2 weeks from this Saturday, I will be celebrating my 45th birthday. No fooling. No joke. So I will be having an open panel live stream for anybody who wants to come on it. And guess what? We're going to talk about whatever the hell we want.
Birthday bash.
So if I happen to bring up what happened in the Cubs game that day, well, guess what? You're all just going to have to deal with it.
We'll sit back and shut up and I'll let you go.
Well, you know what? I know Baron's trying to chime in. Oh, here he goes. Here comes the tears. Or somebody could even say this to me. Just because.
What would you say you do here?
I'm a people person.
I have that part of the clip.
I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Anonymous, I'm going to need you to stream more Hogwarts to build up your watch hours. Yeah. That would be great.
Mike's is gonna have me streaming more Hogwarts, man. I just know it. He's gonna have me coming on Sunday to stream Hogwarts.
Did you see the memo?
Yeah, I saw the memo. I understood the memo. What it is I streamed it one time and it's never gonna happen again.
I'm gonna need you to focus more on your streaming.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Hey,
none of those, man. Check out Channel 9.
What I'm doing the birth exam looks like Ann.
I love that movie.
Yes, I was told I could play my radio at a reasonable volume
From 9 to 11.
from 9 to 11. Okay, but that's the last straw.
If Sandra could do her filing while she's wearing her headphones, I should be able to listen to my radio at a reasonable volume. I talked to Bill.
I asked for a margarita, but with no salt. And I asked
No salt. No
and
salt.
They gave me a margarita. It had big grains of salt. Big grains.
Didn't get any cake.
I could put strychnine in the guacamole. I could have this place condemned.
Freaking Stephen Root should be. Yes. He should be honored at every award show. He's like one of the best character actors there ever was.
Yep.
No, yeah, he's got a lot of range for sure. He does drama, he does comedy. Yep.
You ever watched News Radio?
Yes, that's right. He was in that. He was the station manager, right?
Yep, the owner.
Yes. Yeah, so the owner. That's right. That's right. Yeah, yeah. That show would have gone on a lot longer if Phil Hartman didn't.
I know, man.
It really would have. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was on that.
Yeah, and they tried to keep it going, but it just didn't
John
work.
Lovitz is funny, but it's just you need a certain person, and trying to replace that comedy style of Phil Hartman is just it's too hard.
It was
it's
hard.
Just too hard. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Just like with Michael J. Fox, like Charlie Sheen took over Spin City, but it just wasn't the same. It was good, and the supporting cast was definitely good, but it just wasn't Michael J. Fox.
Yep. Once you get established with a certain person, and it happens at every one, even like that 70s show when Eric took off and they got that new kid in, is just wasn't the same. Just
right.
But I don't think anybody could ever break out of that.
No.
That little hiccup in the show and just bring in somebody new and it just work better. I don't know if it's ever happened.
I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, there's been a few, but even like you go back to the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when they replaced Vivian with somebody else. Like she wasn't bad, but
she wasn't the main character though.
No, that's true. She wasn't.
So it wasn't that big of an adjustment.
No, that's true. That's a good point.
If they replaced Will Smith with somebody else, then that would have been the death knell of the show.
That wouldn't have been good. No, I don't think that would have worked.
Mm-mm. I mean, even if you replace James Avery, I don't think that would have worked.
No, you can't replace James Avery. But they did replace Vivian, and then of course, even in Family Matters, they replaced the other woman. I like the other woman better. She was definitely a main character in Family Matters. She was
not towards the end.
Yeah,
by the time she left, she was hardly in it, and that's probably the reason why she left, because it was the Steve Urkel show by that time. And it was just about him and Carl.
Yeah, that's true. But it worked. Show went on 11 years or something. It was a
long time.
It went on a very long time.
I think we all got Steve Urkeled out. Like, okay, I think we're done here.
Yep. Because it was on ABC and then it moved to CBS and that's where it died. Same with Step by Step.
Yeah, Step by Step. That wasn't a terrible show. It's funny, like that show has some better values than we've probably seen in I don't know how many years.
Oh, for sure. Back when TGI Friday had values in their TV shows.
There was values, I think, in that dinosaurs show too, if I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Get a Frying Pan and Go Not the Mama.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know why. I don't remember a ton about that. I remember the kid, obviously, and not the
Yeah.
mama, but
Yeah,
there's like
yeah.
one part of that in one episode or whatever where they were talking about like humans, like, or the cavemen or whatever, like sit on the toilet and they reuse it, and people keep sitting on the same thing, and it was disgusting.
Yeah, I think that was.
I can't remember the whole thing, but I just remember that part. I always thought that was hilarious.
Then there
We're
was
so
like
disgusting. We'll
Rock.
go use the same toilet,
Yeah,
one right after the other.
Third Rock from the Sun. There's a whole list of shows. I mean, that's
Yeah,
why
Third
stuff
Rock was
even like Cheers. People still love Cheers, and of
Yep.
course Frasier was great.
All those hold up, man.
so
All those
yeah, they're
are
just-
such good shows.
They hold up very well. Yeah, MASH, of course. Yeah, we can go just down the list. Yeah, there's a lot. L.A. Law was a good show, and so even when you go back and watch The District, that was a good show with Craig T. Nelson. I mean, NYPD Blue was a really good show. Yeah,
Even
then
when
the
Law and Order first
CSIs.
started out, it was a very good show.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't.
Now
Yeah.
there's just too many Law and Order shows.
Yeah, I think they're down to like 2 now or something. There was like
I thought
4.
they were going to bring the original one back.
Yeah,
read
they
that a
might.
little while
They
ago.
might.
They did that. They did that with all of those shows, like CSI. They just made a franchise out of them, and just,
Yeah.
it's just
I still think there's like too many like medical shows on, but
yeah.
I think there's probably at least 3 now, at least something like that. Grey's Anatomy is still on for some reason. It just is. I have a friend who really likes that show. I'm like, well, I'm glad for you, man.
Yeah, and I feel the same way Padawannabe feels about bringing Frasier back. No,
Yeah, they
gonna ruin
are.
the show.
No, well, they've got Kelsey Grammer back, and it's going to be on NBC, and so we'll see. I don't know how we'll see how that turns out, but yeah. It's just hard because John Mahoney has passed away, and
Mm-hmm.
that's still a kicker.
I think
you
he
know?
made the show. I mean, yeah, Kelsey Grammer was good.
Oh, it was Frasier, his brother, and then of course
Niles and-
Martin was
Yeah,
great, and then you just had a great supporting cast. You had Roz, you had people Bulldog, you had the situations, and Frasier also got serious too, like the divorce with Niles and Maris. Yeah, that show knew when to get serious. When Niles went in for he had some stint or something with his heart, and they were worried he might die, and how Daphne felt about it, and like those shows got serious, just like Cheers. Cheers got serious too, just like MASH. Obviously, there was funny stuff, but obviously MASH got serious as well, and was based on truth. So
Yeah, they find a winning combination with these shows, with the cast and the writers.
Yep.
And yeah, there's outstanding performances from certain ones, but everything works. Like with Frasier, David Hyde Pierce, and the whole Daphne Maris triangle thing that was really good. And him pining after her and can't have her, and the whole thing. That was just that made for really funny TV.
Yeah, it did.
So, man, there was such good writing back then.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's like a TV show that I wouldn't even think of, but my kid freaking loved Frasier.
Yeah, Frasier's great, man. It's still great. I mean, on Hallmark, unfortunately, they edit certain things like words, ass, and this and that. I'm like, come on, Hallmark, stop that. I mean, it's so aggravating, but like the show is still great, but it's just like, why do these words have to be muted? It's just
because it's Hallmark.
I know
they'll push an agenda, but they won't want the A word on there. Doesn't make any sense,
right? It's just I know it's really silly, but really I look at Hallmark, like the only good thing about that is just like these old shows. I just don't care about their Christmas in July and all this other stuff that they do, but watching old episodes of Frasier and even Cheers, like it's always enjoyable. Yes, I agree. There's just not many. There's not many shows on. Like after Better Call Saul went away, and then of course Bob Odenkirk's going to be a professor in this new show on AMC. That looks interesting because Bob Odenkirk. But there's not much. I'm enjoying. I think on Fox though, especially since PETA hated it, Animal Control is pretty funny. It's a pretty funny show, especially the situations with the animals. They had a bear in a hot tub, and they came back, and then the bear was gone. Then he came back in the hot tub. It was pretty funny. That show has potential, but Joel McHale, I just hope this time that he's going to have a winning show like Community. Community went on for at least a few seasons, and I'm hoping he's going to finally have a winning show. And I hope Fox is going to be smart and leave it at 9:00 on Thursdays, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's the worst thing they could do with is they just move it around like musical freaking TV shows.
Although they've done that before, not just Fox, but all the networks, and it's ruined the show.
But when you know PETA's upset about a show like that, and they think animals are being abused, you know that it's worth watching. That's the way I look at it. It's pretty funny though. Like the situations are pretty funny, and it's just not. I think you guys might like it if you want to try something new. I think it's pretty funny, especially the other guy. Like they're always pranking him, the older guy, because he's kind of a narcissist and he thinks he always gets the job done properly. It's a pretty funny show. So
maybe worth trying, worth a shot, man.
I'm definitely gonna give it a shot.
Yeah, it's hard to come by a good comedy nowadays. So
it is.
Find one, if you can find one.
It is. But if PETA hates the show, that already hates the show, I love it. So that's just great. I like to remind PETA also that the show is on every Thursday. So
just tweet them. Hey PETA, the show's on tonight.
I've done it a few times already. So I would laugh if they ever reply to me.
Oh man. You might not like what they have to say.
Yeah, I might not. It's all right.
And Anonymous, I do want to thank you for coming on, especially last minute like it was. And
hey, no problem. As long as I missed that Brian guy, I hate that guy.
You mean Reporter Lifeform, who also came on last minute. It was just one of those things. It's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and send the invitation. If you guys are available, you are. If you're not, no hard feelings.
No, I was busy a little bit, but I was watching in the front room on the TV and listening.
Ooh, you hear that, Cash? We were on the TV.
You were on the TV.
Woohoo!
The television.
But hey, Mom, baby.
I got on the TV, Mom. I got on the TV.
It's one of them Roku's. So but I wasn't able to get back here until after he was gone, but it's all right. I love you, Brian. Love you, man. You cool monster, you.
Yep. And thank you to the both of you for being here. Of course, thank you to Old Man for being here. And yes, I'm still gonna thank you again.
Happy birthday, Old Man.
Yep.
And happy birthday to you, Old Man.
Happy birthday to Padawannabe in case we don't see him before his birthday.
True.
I'm not singing to you,
He'll
though.
be around. That's right.
Green Lantern, thank you for being here.
No.
Steven, thank you for being here. We also had the Padawannabe, who does have a birthday coming up. So happy birthday in case I don't see you before then. And DJ Ronnie G,
of course.
Thank you for being here. The Angry Canadian. Gosh. I thought they were all nice, eh? Thought they were a bunch of hosers, eh? Who would tell you to take off, eh? Strange Brew, eh? Funny movie, eh?
Pretty
Gap
funny.
Gap after dark. Gap's probably going, well, where's my fucking invitation, Mike?
Yeah, he probably is. He's like, what an ass. How many assholes we got on this?
No.
1, 2, 3.
And we also had the Nerporeal Lifeform, and I don't blame him for venting. I do not blame him for venting about Picard. He's disappointed, especially after hearing what he heard and what all of us were hearing. Oh, this returns Star Trek to form. Does it, though?
Yeah, probably not as good as you'd hoped, but
I don't know. We're gonna watch more of it with some friends, so we'll see. we promised we were going to stick out the whole season. So
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We made our bed. Now we're gonna lie in it.
yes, we're gonna pick apart the show.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm
Yes.
gonna throw softball.
Yeah,
pitches
Phil
at
Phil
it.
McCracken, of course, yes,
Yeah.
who has some obsession with CCP and some other things, but it's all right.
And don't forget, dear boy, we had Mr. Monetization himself, Everest Productions, Lord Crit with his monocle and his
Oh,
top hat.
yes.
oh,
Very
fancy
good.
guy. He's moving
And-
on up and leaving.
And by
us
the
behind.
way, yes, that is diverse and very California. Yes, just like Seattle, where it's around there.
Yes. But yes, Lord
Yes.
Crit is now monetized.
Here's monetized.
He looks at all of us unmonetized channels and goes, "Ah,
They don't even call us unmonetized. We're unclean. We're dirty
uncleansed."
bottom dwellers.
I am Lord Crit, and I declare that the street needs to be cleaned up, especially after PACIFIC414's been here.
I am the greatest Orca boy ever. You just don't understand.
Yes,
My monetization proves it.
yes.
I'm
Now-
better than you all.
Now be gone with you.
Be gone with you, peasants. Yeah.
I'm gonna give him such a hard time
Oh no.
just because I can. I know he'll give it right back.
Oh, he will. There's no doubt about that.
And of course, we had Paul, the
Yes.
Star Wars guys, Justice for Cash and Pacific's brain cells. Yes, we were reading an article at the beginning of Pop Talk and Anonymous, where the author of the article was saying that the next Mass Effect game needs to include more same-sex relationships.
No, of course.
Yes, it has to for some reason.
Because
Even if they don't
that's what
matter or
gamers like
anything in
us
the game.
want, right?
Oh,
we don't,
it's great.
we don't care about quality controls, quality
No.
gameplay, quality story. We want something that really is only a very small part of the game.
It's so amazing.
And we had Lord Thoth, so we had two lords in our
Yes.
chat today.
Lord Thoth
Yeah,
came
yeah.
by.
Oh, another
yes,
person.
dear
You
boy. Yes,
get
dear
your
boy.
monocle.
Get your monocle and your silk top hat. Yeah,
I don't think Lord Thoth is monetized.
and your
so I think
cane. I forgot to include the cane.
I think he's just an ancient Egyptian god. So
Oh, okay.
it's
an
different. It's
ancient
different.
Egyptian god who will dress at his best.
Yes.
He will smite you.
I'm a Cub fan. I'm used to being smited.
That's true.
But I want to thank everybody for being here. Greatly appreciate it. And old man, once again, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
Today's your birthday. Gonna have a good time.
Better want to be his birthday too.
I don't want a birthday coming up very soon.
That's starting to sound a little like Trump there. Greatest ever.
Greatest birthday ever.
That's more of the
Worst
comic book.
birthday anybody's ever had.
ever.
Worst birthday ever that I'll check out 3 times today. Yeah.
But thank you for everybody who watched, listened, lurked, laughed, shook their heads,
Yes.
face palmed, whatever it is you had to do to watch this episode of Pop Talk. Thank you all very much. Hope you all have a great night, and I'll definitely see you all Friday.
Woo.
Ciao, babies.
Yeah.
Later, all.
Loud noises.
loud booms. Y'all come back now, you hear?